Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. This is episode 188. I am Peter, and I'm joined, as always, by Matt.
Hey, what's up?
And also Connor.
Yeah, Pete's really loud today, and I don't know where this energy has come from.
Turn down your... He's fine on my side.
Yeah.
No, I just mean he was being loud.
I think I've got new energy. It's a new year. It's a happy new year, everyone. It's 2020, the first week of the books. 2020.
And we're one day closer to the release of Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey.
You're such a prick. So, Matt's starting early this year.
I love how he couldn't even wait till the relevant news story.
I know.
To bring that up.
I know. He's an absolute man.
Just because I know the Pete's epic rant last week, now it is a thing. To poke and prod him.
Ah, dear. That's the thing. Now I know you're going to do it intentionally. It now has no effect because I know it's just a button.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. That's,
Yeah, we'll see if it has no effect in a month's time.
Yep.
Week of release doesn't count. Before and after, no effect. Week of release is a different story.
We'll see.
Let's not deal with that. So anyway, talking about DC Comics on this show. Every week we get together, we talk about DC comic books that come out in the week. This week we will be discussing Action Comics 1018, The Flash 85, Batgirl 42, Justice League Dark 18, Lois Lane number 7, Dial H for Hero number 10, and Joker Harley Criminal Sanity number 2. So that is the books this week. So I've a nice, maybe not quite a light week, but virgin on light to start us off. But it was light for me. I only had 5 books, so
I only had 6.
I might have had the most again.
every month or so, Matt's like, I'm going to read less books. I've got too many books, and he always ends up with more. Because
I can't help myself. I have a problem.
Because comics in Matt's hands are like tribbles. They just keep multiplying.
They do.
So that's the books we're going to be talking about later. We do have some news. We got both DC news. We got some Us news, and bit of small talk as we often do. Now we're back to regular episodes again, and not the behemoths that we had on the run up to Christmas.
They were rough.
Yeah,
it was.
Let's do a tight hour, guys. Tight hour. Let's get this going.
Tight hour. Where do you think the last time was we came close to 1 hour on an episode of this
show?
I'm not sure we've ever been less than like an hour and a half, to be fair.
No, I think if you go back to the first few weeks, because the first few weeks of Rebirth only had like 4 or 5 books, I think there's a little batch at the start that are close to an hour. Some of them.
Okay. Didn't last long, did it?
No, I was never going to, but like that's okay. That's fine. We're here. So where do we begin? So there was something that occurred to me actually since last week.
Oh God.
Right. No. I just because we did our annual, we did our best of the year like we do every year, and it was it was fine. That's what it always is. Hopefully people enjoyed it. But it did make me go. Like it never even entered into my head to like even have a small conversation about the best of the decade. We never talked about it, and I think the reason why we never talked about it is because the decade is essentially made up into 2 chunks. It's the Rebirth chunk, which is the last 4 years, and then the 5 years previous, which was the New 52, and almost all of that wouldn't make it into any any best of lists.
Honestly, I think I just had no interest in doing best of decades with comics at all, because I think there's just too much. To even like when I'm looking at like TV, movies, I can there's X amount a year of each thing, right? Whereas with comics, I read literally hundreds of comics a year, and it's too much to even start breaking down into the entire decade.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think if you're going by runs, you can easily break it down to the point where I actually kind of made a little list that I may do on my own at some point. But
of course you did.
That was including Marvel stuff though, and like other stuff. That was like comics in general list. But I do want to acknowledge though, because ultimately I just said that the first half of the decade is mostly shite, and we wouldn't include any of it. I do want to point out though that there was a year and a half before the New 52 in this decade. 2010 in the first 7 months, 8 months of 2011 did include Black Mirror by Snyder, did have Stephanie Brown Batgirl, and did have I think some of Morrison's Batman and Robin. So I want to acknowledge that there was some really good stuff in that first little slice before the New 52 came in and
he says like there wasn't Lemire's Animal Man or Lemire's Green Arrow
or Soul's Swamp Thing
or Azzarello's Wonder Woman.
I'll give you Lemieux's Animal Man, but I wouldn't include any of the other ones you just said on my best of the decade. I
mean,
like
that's fair, but all of them are. I think all of them are worthy of the conversation.
I don't
Court
like
of Owls.
I don't like Lemieux's Green Arrow as much as you guys do. I just flat out don't. Soul's Swamp Thing I didn't like and dropped, so I'm not going to include that.
That's fantastic. No, there's some Steiner Batman stuff I'd add in there. His first 2 years on that book were pretty solid with Owls and Death of the Family.
Oh, yeah, it was your Zero that killed it for me at least.
So
yeah.
there are stuff, but 2000, like right before the New 52, I don't remember much. That's how long ago it was. Like Connor was saying, like I read so many comics that it's in and out that I can't remember what came out when.
I remember the important stuff. Like I said, the stuff I mentioned like really stuck in my brain. As soon as I started thinking about it, I knew those big things that I cared about.
I love Superman, but I can't remember what was going on Superman in that point. So yeah.
Well, Superman was in a bad place. That was during the whole grounded chunk.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I never read, but I don't remember the opinion being
No, it started out
time.
fine, and then Straczynski left, and then it kind of left them in a murky place. So I get what he was trying to do, but when you up and leave, or he was forced out, or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, and let's be real, if we're doing the best of the decade, that begins and ends with Wonder Woman 8 by Greg Rucka. So, like, come on.
Okay, I'm going to ask just one question about best of the decade. We can move on. We don't have to do any kind of list or anything like that. I just want to ask one question. If we were doing best of the decade, would Doomsday Clock still be your pick for best series, Matt?
No, because of recency bias. It's like on the best of the decade movies that we did. I tried to limit the movies from this year because it's still too new. It's still up there. It would definitely make top 5, especially as a story. But yeah, and then it could end up moving up as time goes on. But yeah,
and I think it's unfair as well because you're comparing that against in this scenario. I assume you're comparing it against entire runs, not just individual story arcs.
Yeah, it's kind of wishy-washy. You can do either. It depends what you
because
if it's
against that if it's like Doomsday Clock versus the entirety of Aaron's Thor, for example,
right?
And there's so much more of one that's very, very good against 12 issues of perfection. It's kind of a little bit unfair.
I'm picking Doomsday Clock in that scenario.
Well, I mean, Aaron had like almost 10 years in 4 different series, and John's had 2 years of 12 issues.
Do you know, could you imagine actually, right? Because in terms of issue count, it's not that dissimilar to Tom King's Batman when it's all said and done. Could you imagine if Tom King had like 5 Batman #1s by now, by the time he got to 85?
I think there's quite a lot more than of Aaron's Thor, isn't there?
It's about 100 issues, isn't it?
There's God of Thunder, Mighty Thor. Are we counting the minis of Unworthy Thor and
yeah, I suppose you
Thor's?
would.
So right there's 5.
Yeah,
and
but a lot of them are
again.
A lot of them are not that long though. Some of those are like 8 issues, 6 issues.
It's at least over 100 issues. I know that.
Yeah, I said it was comparable. I didn't say it was the same.
Yeah, they went Thor: The God of Thunder, then it went the Mighty Thor, and then regular Thor.
And then you've got to include some of the other like the original
War
Sin
Realms.
mini, War Realms.
Because of course, obviously, time-wise, it's not comparable because obviously Aaron was doing this, from like
Issue-wise,
2011 or something like that.
8 years or something like that.
Yeah.
But issue count is, it's in the ballpark.
Yeah, and God of Thunder got up there to 25 issues.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them were all kind of limited. And I don't think Thor got up there to 20 in the 20s. I can't remember.
I done, yeah.
But then it went back to original numbering.
Got confusing, yeah.
Yeah, so it's tough. That said, it is one of my favorite comic runs of all time, just because of the storytelling involved. I can't say the same about King.
Oh, obviously. I'm not comparing quality here. I'm just commenting on how often Marvel renumber bollocks.
Yeah, so that quantity doesn't go with quality either. There's Aaron. There were some issues that Aaron whiffed on.
Oh, sure.
But just
It's also one of those weird things where if the renumbering is one of those things that is the price of, okay, Aaron's staying on the book, but we need the sales boost.
Right.
Otherwise, we got to get in a new writer and do something entirely fresh. If that's the price that you had to pay, it was worth it.
Yeah, and so I read at the end. So his issue came out. His final Thor issue came out the same week as Doomsday Clock.
Yeah,
and had some very similar themes throughout, which I appreciated. But when you read his statement in the back about it, he didn't even really want to do Thor. He had an idea for something else that someone else was already on, and they're like, "How about Thor?" And he's like, "Sure." And the rest is history. And like, that's so weird to me because when you read his book from the beginning, it seems like this is a character he really cares about.
Yeah, it's basically the start of all the Marvel Now stuff, I think, is when it first kicked off. And it was basically, hey, everything's up for grabs. What does everyone want? And he kind of went, well, I guess I'll take Thor.
Well, yeah, I think he wanted X-Men. He kind of intimated that that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
Which would have made sense.
Bendis was there.
That would have made sense as well, because he was doing Wolverine the X-Men, so it would have been a natural spin into the rest of the X-Men,
Right. And I think that's when Bendis' stuff started as well. And you're not going to move Bendis, especially at that time. So,
unfortunately for him right now, Hickman's got his claws all over the X-Men world. So
that said, his Avengers is a lot of stupid fun. Like, I don't mean to say stupid, but it is big, popcorny, them headquartering in a dead Celestial.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable enough read. It's not like it doesn't feel important or special, in the same way that some of his early Thor stuff did. But I mean, it does. Exactly, it's fun. That's what it is.
And that's fine. If this means he gets back to writing Southern Bastards, awesome. I missed that.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah, I think we'll be getting New American Vampire and new, not that we care about East of West, but apparently that's also in like indefinite hiatus from Hickman while he's doing all these other things.
Right?
Saga's on a hiatus, yeah. I'm feeling more confident about that one once they're done doing whatever they're doing instead. Some of these just kind of stopped because American Vampire just kind of like he kept supposed to be doing it soon, and it just kept getting pushed back.
No, I think Southern Bastards. I suspect that's not even Aaron. I suspect that's Latour, who started doing a lot more writing and doing a lot of other books. So that may be where that's from.
That was a story I got heavily in, like, not I was involved in, but like just the way that they were seeding characters and whatnot, and what you thought it was going to be in that first issue turned out not to be what it ended up. So but definitely his Thor would be best of the decade. That's short list.
If I'm picking stuff from Marvel to throw in just to sort of the mix here, because obviously we don't talk about Marvel as much, I would throw in Taylor's all new Wolverine into the mix.
That quite had a hefty run. That's like what, 3-4 volumes?
That's like 6 volumes. It's like
6?
Yeah, okay. 35, 36 issues.
Okay.
And as much as I don't really like anything else I've tried from, Matt Fraction's Hawkeye is really good. It's a really good series. And Wade's Daredevil is actually really fantastic.
I gotta finish that. I got up to the 5th trade, and they got hard to find. My shop didn't, I gotta go order it, but
I got about that far as well. I got a bit bored.
Yeah. Well, then I picked back up with the San Francisco stuff because I read that in singles. So, but yeah, no, that's real good. Definitely a different take from if you went from Bendis to Brubaker to Wade. I think we'll ignore Shadowland in between.
Yeah, Daredevil's kind of a shockingly well consistent character. I mean, he's had a couple of rough patches, but I can't think of any other characters who have as many. Like, if you just look at his timeline from the 80s to now, he's had so many big runs by big writers that take up most of that time.
Because people forget about Daredevil, I think.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the same cachet over at Marvel as Spider-Man
It's kind of, I would say Thor kind of falls into that category as well. Walt Simon's JMS, you've got the Fraction and Gillen years into Aaron. It's pretty consistent. Well,
he's another one that kind of falls that people forget about him because Spider-Man and X-Men take up a lot of the oxygen over there. But yeah. And then there's the whole indie stuff too. I can't even.
Oh yeah,
Lazarus.
My problem with doing the indie stuff is that I'm behind in everything. But just based on what I've read, I'd throw in Lazarus, I'd throw in Saga, I'd throw in What else? What else was this decade? Damn it! Like this is where I struggle to remember. What was this decade? Was Sweet Tooth this decade?
I never read it. I don't know.
Or was that last decade? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah. So,
like I said, too many comics. I mean, I probably read about 70 to 100 new comics a month.
Yeah.
Not count new releases. Not counting anything that I'm working through on top of that.
Right.
We just did most of it. It's fine. It's easy enough.
But yeah, I just throw Lazarus and Criminal in there. The other Brubaker, Phillip stuff, I would have to go in there with the Fade Out and Kill or Be Killed. Those are all top-notch stories.
Mm.
So, but yeah.
And anything Gillen McKelvey did, which I know was Wicked and Divine was all this decade. Some of Phonogram, at least the third one was, maybe the second one as well. I'm not entirely sure. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But the third one is the best one anyway. So it's all good.
Yeah, but when it comes to like Lazarus and stuff, it's so weird because of the schedule that's been adapted to now. Yeah. Because Rucka takes time off and there's time in between, and then you have the whole.
And now they're doing like double-sized, premium issues.
The quarterlies.
Quarterlies, yeah, I thought so.
And so I'm just gonna wait for those to be all collected before I go back to read Lazarus.
What's funny is I've been buying the singles digitally, so basically every time Image has a sale, because they always put their single issues on sale, I'll just mop them up then to whatever issues up to the sale price. I'll just do up to every time.
No, so I've literally just had a quick glance at my shelf and saw Black Beetle by Frank Avila. Completely forgot that existed. It's phenomenal. Just in terms of this conversation, there's so much. I would never have thought of that, and then I look at my shelf and go, of course that. Yeah, it's so much.
Yeah, and I'll give a shout out. I've read about 50 or so issues of it, but I mean, the ongoing Turtles comic, which started in 2011 and is still running and is over 100 issues now, or just hitting 100 issues, was really good, and it was like a really great meld of like what you love about the animated show mixed with like a more adult take, so it's more fitting for everyone reading it. Like really good stuff.
Spoiler alert for those if you plan on reading it. So I'm gonna give you some time but that's where they kill Donnie in that one. Eventually, yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Although he came back, I'm sure. I'm not gotten that far yet, but
I'm just saying, there's so many different Turtle books right now. With the crossovers and whatnot. I don't know where that one happened in. I just remember it happening.
No. There's definitely one main Turtles book. I mean, there's a lot of other side things you can read, but there's one main ongoing that you can just focus on.
Some of the side things are quite important to the main book.
There's some minis that are worth reading, some that aren't. But honestly, you can just read the main book and be fine. Like, honestly, I tried to read some of the side stuff earlier on, and some of the micro series stuff, I just was like, I didn't need this.
I know they include them in their, like, library editions, whatever IDW call them. They include a lot of those micro series in there.
I will say that IDW's trades and hardcover prices are absolutely terrible for what you get in them, issue count wise.
Like 4 issues and it's the same price as
which is why I still buy the single issues when they're on sale for that series, because it's actually almost the same price and I don't feel like I'm getting ripped off. So there you go. So yeah, I mean, that's just some best of decade talk to throw that in. So we have a little announcement to make about stuff. We've kind of teased recently about the possibilities of doing a companion show, doing some classic DC material, at least with me and Connor. And Matt's shaking his head. What? What?
Because I saw the tweet from Connor yesterday. And I know exactly where this is going.
Look, loosey goosey. Look, the plan is and we're kind of bringing something else back as well at the same time. We're doing a little bit of best of both worlds here. So the plan is to do a show called Previously in the Multiverse, which will hopefully start in a week or two. We're looking at that starting pretty soon. And it'll be every other week. It'll be on the same feed. And it'll be me and Connor, and we actually did a poll on Twitter a few weeks ago as well when we were kind of like thinking about ideas for this, because at one point we were thinking, what if we just start a post-crisis and just do week to week as if we were living in that time. But of course the downside to that is that we don't get to just, it takes us years to get to some of the runs that we actually want to read and talk about. So we have thus decided, and aided with the poll, which did win in this favour, we're just going to be doing about 5 or 6 runs at a time. So every 2 weeks we'll do an issue from each of these runs, and we'll go from there. And I can tell you what those runs are today. I can tell you what they're going to be, and then what the 6th one is going to maybe be, in terms of how that's going to be chosen. So the 5 runs that we're going to be doing every other week. The first one is not actually one series. The first one is actually kind of the expansive long form project that will never be finished, and that is Batman from Post Crisis, because Batman is really well collected from Crisis onwards, like shockingly so these days. So starting from, I think it's Detective 568 is the first post-Crisis Batman issue. We're going to work through Batman from there and just keep going, regardless of writer, regardless of what it's doing.
That's the one that kind of spun out of the original idea of everything post-Crisis, where we'll probably hit the relevant events as we go through that book, because they might be needed for context. Yeah,
assuming that they're... I mean, because there's some events that are more linked to other characters that we'll just leave behind, and they can be done when we do a run of those characters that go through that part or whatever. But so you'll get Batman for Post-Crisis. We're going to do Azarella's Wonder Woman from New 52. Probably one of the few New 52 runs that will happen on the show ever. So that's going to happen. We're going to do The Flash by Mark Waid. Starting with the Flash special, the 50th anniversary special,
which I did not realize was an 80-page issue to start off with.
The first issue's long. We then have Birds of Prey, which we're starting from, Chuck Dixon. I think it starts with a one shot that happened before the main series, so that's going to be kicking that off. And then the 5th book, and of course there's always going to be a Jeff Johns slot, so the first Jeff Johns book or run that we're going to work through is GSA. So we're going to start now. Admittedly, the irony there is that the first 6 or 7 aren't by Johns himself, but we're starting from where the trade starts. So
that's Robinson's and Johns, I think.
Goya's involved at the start as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Goyer's involved in that first little batch. Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I know.
And I just read it.
So those are the 5 runs we're going to start with. Some are longer than others. Some will take years. Some will maybe just be about 1 year. Now, there will be a 6th slot, and there may be more slots in the future if we realise that this is actually quite easy to keep up. We might add a slot or 2, but there is a 6th slot which will be picked by our patrons, which they'll get to vote on. So $5 patrons and up will get to vote on what that 6th book is going to be. And I can't tell you what the exact picks are yet, but I can tell you all 4 of them will be Superman picks for this first vote. And we're going to aim to pick shorter things for the vote so that you get to vote at least a couple of times a year, maybe 3 times a year, so that they're not things that take years and years to do. So there'll be 4 Superman picks and a Patreon vote soon on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. So $5 and up patrons will get to vote on that 6th book. So that's every 2 weeks. We're going to do that. Now, that was originally going to be every week, and there's no reason why we can't do it every week. It seemed like a fine idea. And actually, you're probably thinking to yourself, wait, you guys do too much. You don't have time for this. There's actually... but there's actually a reason why we do have time for this, which will be the last part of this announcement, which might upset some people. More on that in a minute. But they are 2 weeks, because the idea was that we're going to do this every week. And then I had the idea of alternating it with something else, and that alternation is going to be with the return of Elsewhere in the Multiverse, where me and Connor will use that time to talk about whatever books we're reading from other publishers. We won't necessarily strictly, try and keep up with tons of stuff like we did before, because that kind of bogged the show down a little bit.
It was like 20 odd books before, because this show, it's just DC, obviously. It's a limited number, whereas that was... Well, there's anything from Marvel, Image, IDW, Boom. We had all sorts going.
Yeah, and there was a bit too much pressure to keep up, as if, much like, because this show, we do a good job of trying to, no, we have to do this week's books this week, so it's out and people can hear us talk about the new books. Elsewhere every 2 weeks is going to be us talking about whatever books we read in the last 2 weeks, some of which will sync up. The first episode or 2 will probably just be talking about what we've been catching up on, because I have to catch up on a few books before I can actually talk about them issue to issue again.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I'm caught up on most things I'm reading. So I'm just kind of waiting on Pete to catch up at first.
Yeah, so that may take an extra week or 2 before that starts compared to the other show, but the idea is that'll alternate with previously. So Previously and Elsewhere will both exist, And this is the other big thing, is one of the problems that basically Elsewhere that was killed by was we missed a week because we didn't have time to do it, and then it became this pressure of like, oh my god, we have to fit in an episode covering last week's books, and then fit in this week's books, worth of episodes, or episode worth of books, is what I meant to say. We're not going to do that. Basically, if we have to skip a week, then cool, no biggie. Obviously, we'll still have to read the books, so we're up to date in the books, but it just means we skipped a week, and we'll be back with the following batch, and maybe we'll bring, talk about one or two of the books that we missed for, if they're really important or we feel that we really care, but it'll be a bit more loosey-goosey, so we can just keep doing it, even if we miss a week. And, so previously and Elsewhere will alternate. The previously will definitely start this month. Elsewhere probably will as well. If not, it'll be starting next month, and they'll alternate, and they'll be on the same feed as this, and they'll be on the YouTube channel and all that good stuff. I'm also considering them both going up a little bit early on Patreon as well, so that's another thing to consider as well for $5 patrons and up. So yeah, so that's that part of the announcement. Hopefully that sounds good. Hopefully people are into the idea of us talking a bit more comics. Cool stuff. Why do we have time to do this? Why do I not feel that this is going to be adding stuff to the schedule? Because after the next episode of Television for the Multiverse, which is the final part of Crisis on Infinite Earths, that show is officially cancelled and dead and never coming back.
It was a short-lived revival.
Well, basically we felt bad that we didn't get to Crisis, and we wanted to watch Crisis. And, well, Crisis has been fine, exciting in places. The regular shows week to week have been absolute torture, and I have hated watching them this past, few months.
Yeah, it's been a case of Flash has been somehow as bad, if not worse. And there are people online who tell me this is Flash's best season since 1 or 2, and they're wrong. I don't understand those people. Madness.
I don't see it.
Supergirl is at a terrible place, because there was a point in the last season where things were not necessarily great, but we were kind of hopeful, because Supergirl tends to do this, where it's really up and down.
It fluctuates.
This has just been all down. It's been terrible, and my liver has things to say.
This is basically the intervention on Pete's behalf.
Yeah, and Batwoman's fine, but it's just another CW show, which honestly, by the time we get to season 2, I could see just been as terrible as everything else. Right now, it's getting by on being new.
I'll be honest. I completely forgot Batwoman existed when we were just talking about these shows. That kind of says it all.
Yeah, obviously, we like Legends. We still want to watch Legends, and we'll do that in our free time. But and
we'll probably still try Stargirl.
We'll do the pilot.
The first episode.
Sure, yeah, we'll do the pilot. But we just can't. It's not just that I don't want to review them. I'm just kind of done watching most of them at this point. I don't need to watch them anymore. They're just not that good. So
I mean, they're worse than not that good.
Yeah, but they've beaten me down over years.
Yeah. Over
years and years of this shit. So that's why we're confident in adding this rotating weekly content, because it's replacing Television in the Multiverse. So it's not actually a burden on our schedule like Elsewhere was last time, and we were still doing TV Multiverse, and we were trying to do the supersized version of Elsewhere. So Elsewhere and Previously will rotate every other week, swapping between them. And hopefully that'll be fun. You guys can be excited about that if you're into us talking about old DC books or non-DC books. You got some new content.
I've got some extra ideas for those shows as well that I haven't kind of sprung on Pete yet, so I'll tell him those later.
Oh, you can tell me after we're done recording. I'm curious. Yeah. When I will approve or not approve.
I feel like you might appreciate at least one of these ideas.
Okay. All right. But let's not make no mistake. I'm in charge, and what I say goes.
Yeah. You know what I've heard? If someone has to keep reminding you they're in charge, they really aren't.
I'm not reminding Connor, I'm reminding the people.
Okay. Still stands.
I'm letting them know what the hierarchy is of this show. It's me, and then Matt is there as my XO, and then Connor's the grunt cleaning the toilets. That's the hierarchy.
I am the thing that makes all this flow.
Like laxatives. Connor's the laxatives of this whole thing.
They can be an essential part of someone's life.
If they are, there's major problems, man.
That's what I'm saying. Major problems on this show without me.
Laxatives are that thing that you might need, but you really hate that you need it. You don't want it in your life.
You don't want it, but you do need it, and that's why I'm here.
Well, Taco Bell just released new products, so And none needed here.
Do you know, they're building a Taco Bell next to my movie theater, and I'm a little bit sad that because I've given up cheese, I probably there's nothing on the menu probably worth getting.
Oh no, there's plenty.
There's because I can't have cheese, obviously.
Oh,
and I would still very much enjoy Taco Bell. I do on a regular basis.
It says it's opening early 2020, so I expect it by maybe March time.
Yeah, you can easily get stuff with no cheese. I mean, it's
okay.
You can ask for
the majority of my favorite things. You can't have, but you know, there's always at least Taco Bell here is they're super friendly with customizing stuff. So
yeah. I've never had a problem asking them to remove cheese from stuff.
All right.
Well,
and weirdly, because of how the business model is, they're a little bit more healthy than typical fast food. Mostly because their meat is lowest grade, right? So it's not high in fat. It's super high in protein. So it's.
Well,
just don't need a bunch of it like I do.
Once it's open, I will get your directions and I'll try some next time at the movies. Once it's open.
Some? You just try everything on the menu.
I mean, you still only spend $12. It's great.
I highly doubt it's going to be that cheap. I've got a sneaky suspicion.
It's actually it's cheaper than a lot of other places, depending on what you get.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So for me here with their new, I tried each of their new double-decker tacos
at the same time.
At work for lunch yesterday.
Actually, was it the same time?
Huh?
Was the same time? You got all these at the same time?
Oh yeah, there's 3 new ones. I got those. I got one with a combo meal. So I ended up with 6 items for $8.88 with the drink. And I probably shouldn't have eaten all of those because it was very hard to work afterwards. So full.
Matt's walking around really slowly, just like,
Over here, the meals are comparable to other places because it's the same company that owns KFC. Yeah. So the meals are like comparable. But if you're just getting like individual items and getting like a good variety, it's closer to like Greg's than it is to somewhere else.
Interesting. They also own Pizza Hut, which is why there's such a thing as a Kintaco Hut. Because they have like the combos where you get all 3 of them in the one place.
Yeah, you see those here mostly on interstates and small towns where they're just gonna share the area to have some variety.
What's funny is that it's being built right next to a KFC and a Pizza Hut, so they actually do have this whole lot to themselves, where it's just all their buildings.
Yes.
Yeah, Taco Bell is still such a rarity over here, though. They're very few and far between.
Yeah.
This is the first one I've seen.
I remember reading Simon Pegg's book, and he met Nick Frost when I think they were both working at a Mexican restaurant, and he goes, "Before you Americans start going like, oh, how nice of a restaurant could a Mexican restaurant be?" He goes, "Don't forget." This is England. Mexican food counts as exotic.
Yeah.
So it was like a fancy Mexican restaurant.
Yeah. It's only just in the recent years there's like fast food place that do anything Mexican style.
There's a relatively fancy Tex-Mex place just down the street from me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no. I had swore off Taco Bell because they got rid of my favorite combo. However, they've made steps. They've made steps in.
Because they didn't have to do anything. You'd have been back regardless.
No, I was good I was good for about a month until they brought back the taquitos. So, and if you guys don't get it, a month without Taco Bell is massive.
Now, I was next to the theater because I'd seen something a week or 2 ago, and I noticed they were building something, and because of where they were building, I was like, okay, that's clearly a restaurant, and I looked up and it was just a sign saying Taco Bell coming in 2020. I'm like, I just started laughing because I thought I'm Matt, and it was really funny to me because it's become such a meme at this point that Matt lives off Taco Bell. So and for the record, just in terms of previously in the multiverse, I was teasing all these runs that we were doing on Twitter over the last 24 hours. So that's what all those images were.
He saw me posting. He's like, "Oh, that's an idea."
And what's your point?
That I want you to acknowledge that you stole that from me.
What do you mean stole it from you? But your post wasn't to tease things. It was just, I'm doing this.
It was a bit of a tease if you read the caption.
I turned it into marketing. All right, you were just posting.
I don't have access to that account, so I wasn't going to do that.
I did marketing, damn it. I did tease. I did a proper little teaser on Twitter.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done any of that if not for me.
Stop trying to think you're essential. You're not essential, right? You're
go ahead. Try to do elsewhere on your own.
I can do it on my own. It's better. I'll find someone. I'll find a nice guy named Jeff. Me and Jeff will do elsewhere.
Jeff. I started What We Do in the Shadows. I got to the third episode.
Oh yes.
Woke my wife up by giggling at all the werewolf BS. How they settle the vampire versus werewolf fight killed me.
Honestly, my favorite line when Matt Berry's showing off his vagina hedge garden, and he gets to he's like, these are my favorite too. This is my wife's, and this one's my mother's.
Sorry, how did I not know Matt Berry was in this? Why have I not watched this?
He's like the main cat. He's like one of the three main characters. Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah. Why did no one tell me?
He's great.
Yep.
Well, I guess I know what I'm doing.
In fact, actually, Matt, do you know what I laughed really hard? See the second episode when they go to like the local council meeting and they want the main dude to go up and argue because they want to take over the area.
They've been sent to take over
the US. Yeah, so they're going to start with the island, right? Anyway, so basically, Matt Berry wants to ban turtlenecks, and he's not happy about it, and basically, the main guy does so bad, and it cuts back to Matt Berry, and he goes he's blown it. He's not even mentioned the turtlenecks, and I lost my shit when he said that.
On a scale, how Matt Berry is Matt Berry?
Oh, he's so Matt Berry. He is full Matt Berry.
I haven't seen anything else with him in it. He seems very familiar, but I was worried they wouldn't translate the tone from the movie, and I have nothing to. You have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's better than the movie because it gets to be long form. I think that helps the comedy so much.
Oh yeah. So, but no, I was in such a giggle fit that I woke my wife up who was napping on the couch. But yeah, it's super solid. But yeah, when you said Jeff, I was like, oh, that's Jeff. Jeff.
Gregor.
So it's good.
I mean, I think I need to have a palate cleanser with some vampire stuff after last week.
Well, you guys seem to be the only one that hate it, so that makes me laugh.
Oh, that BBC Dracula is so bad.
It's terrible, and I think it's on Netflix for everyone now. It's a deal. Please don't waste your time.
Also, anybody accusing Pete and Connor of being mainstream MCU fanboys, please acquaint yourself with their content first. There's many flaws. You could argue against them on various different terms, but if that's your go-to, try again.
I love that comment. One of the first comments in our Dracula review, because people seem to like it and were mad that me and Connor tore it to shreds. One of the first comments was, "I guess you guys only like Marvel movies or other simple films." I laugh so hard.
Yeah.
But people are so
salty.
salty.
That I was like, no, Pete made me watch Under the Skin. Okay.
I forgot how much I hate that movie.
Yeah.
If anything, you could
actresses in it.
So I didn't show up on your top decade list. Then,
absolutely not.
See if you want to argue that I'm too pretentious, I'll maybe understand your argument. I'll maybe see why you're saying that. I disagree, but I see why you're saying that.
It's a lot closer to the truth.
Yeah.
Well, and just the fact too that Connor hasn't seen a Marvel movie in quite some time. I don't think he's seen Civil War still. So
no, he has.
I saw up to Infinity War.
He's not seen anything since. Yeah, so it'll be 2 years in May.
Yeah, I didn't know this was a show until you guys started saying how bad it was.
Oh yeah.
And I never finished Sherlock, so I don't have T-Dog in this fight. I like that first season of Sherlock. It's good, but the second one seemed to kind of.
No, I'd still recommend season 1 and 2 to anyone for Sherlock.
Yeah.
3, isn't terrible. It's okay.
3 has I like the middle episode in 3.
See, this is again. Let's talk about the decade stuff. I've watched them so long ago, I can't remember. What's the one where they start hypothesizing how Sherlock could have survived? Is that season 2 or is that into season 3?
I think that's season 2.
Is that the start of season 2? The season 1?
Like that. So 1 and 2 are good. 3 is where I kind of fell off then.
4's terrible. So yeah, you can stay away.
Don't watch it. It's like there's so many shows like that where I'm like, like Torchwood. I love seasons 1 and 2. 3 was okay. That's the one that was all aired in 1 week, and it was back to back. It was it's all right. And then 4 was the kind of the quote unquote revival season. Don't do it. Just don't watch it.
I remember upsetting somebody by saying that I got to David Tennant's Doctor, and I was like, this is enough for me. And
what the hell is wrong with you?
Like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly. Alden's like, you're not going to get to Matt Smith? I was like, nah, man, I got better things to do. So...
You have nothing better to do than watching Tennant's Doctor Who episodes.
I got to Tennant, and they're in old New York, and Spider-Man shows up, and I can't.
Is that the one with the pig people?
Yes.
Yeah. Not his strongest episode. I'll give you that one.
Okay, that's I
don't hate it, but not his strongest episode.
Yeah. So Moffat's just not for me, I guess, at this point. Like 2 seasons of Sherlock, great. Everything else I've watched.
That was pretty Moffat as well. I mean, he wrote the odd episode, and he wrote actually some really good episodes in that point, but he wasn't the showrunner.
Oh, I thought he brought it back with Eccleston.
No, he didn't become the showrunner until Matt Smith.
Yeah, it was Russell T Davies before that.
Okay, well, look at me.
I quit Doctor Who. I didn't want to watch any more of it.
This new episode was great. It had such a classic reveal at the end, and it was like, oh, it's so nice to get a proper two-parter with a proper reveal that was genuinely exciting. I loved it.
There's something so frivolous about Doctor Who that I just don't think it's for me. I've tried a lot of it. I've watched
why I like it.
Yeah,
it's its own thing, right? And the Eccleston stuff was weird, like, and I like that. And then the rest of it was just, So wait, who plays Harker on Dracula? Because this is a cinema character that's been played by some of the greats, like Keanu Reeves.
I couldn't name, and let's be honest, I couldn't recognize him either.
Okay.
Yeah, I know who it was. Yeah,
who plays Dracula?
Some dude.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like Danish or something.
Yeah.
You don't even get Mads Mikkelsen? Come on now.
No.
He's like a Danish actor.
He starts off sounding like Borat before he changes to an English accent.
Wait, do you guys have problems with this?
Yeah, because he's doing like the I never drink wine, half, like, you know, like it just.
Yeah, it's not good, and I was like, okay, this isn't good, but I'm willing to kind of go, okay, we just can't do that accent. We're getting rid of it soon anyway. That's why we're getting rid of it. And
wait, real quick, yeah. Pete's Borat is the same as the Tommy Wiseau. I want people to.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can see that. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, that's fair.
Because when you said that, I was like, that's more of the room than Borat, but I can see where you're going.
He does the exact same thing for both. You're right. He does.
I do. Yes, that's my weird accent voice.
Well, and it's funny that in the Disaster Artist, they what's his name from Better Call Saul says that he has the energy much like a vampire. He's dreadful to look at. Wait, so I guess out
of curiosity, which one do I actually sound closer to? Do I sound more like Tommy Wiseau or more like?
Yeah, it's much more of a Tommy Wiseau.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So, my wife.
I'm so lucky I have you, my best friend, and I love Lisa so much. The room's
Anyways,
great.
comics, guys.
Yes, comics.
Well, yeah. News yet?
No, we've got a little bit of news to do. First things first, you mentioned the top 50 movies. I just want to plug that since you brought it up because people might be interested. Yep. So we're doing this super thing. It'll be another week or so before they start going up. But everyone from Mailfuzz TV, the three of us plus Tim and Tara, all did their own top 50 movies of the decade. And they're going to go out in 5 parts where each part is like, you know, a chunk of 10. And it will be rotating through all of us. It'll all be edited together. I'm going to put in tons of editing work out of this, so if you're interested, check it out on YouTube or on the Mailfuzz Movies podcast feed. And hopefully, if you're interested in us talking about just movies in general and seeing what all of our best movies of the decade are, you'll get tons of recommendations throughout that.
And one major one that Matt forgot.
And one major one that Matt forgot.
Yeah, I still can't believe that happened.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
No, I'm not.
Pete told me just to get my reaction on camera, and I just laughed so much.
Yeah, because I'm going to edit.
What happens, again, when you make your list while watching hockey, while your wife's watching a murder documentary. So, yes.
Yes, because Connor's reaction will be edited in at the appropriate part. So... Yes, delightful. Anyway, so we do have a little bit of comic book news for DC Comics. Really just a few delays and an artist change. But first up, Justice League 39 has been pushed by a couple of weeks. It was meant to be out on January 15th, which was 2 Wednesdays from this Wednesday that we're reviewing in terms of books. But now it's going to be out on January 29th on the week 5. So this is going to be the end of the month now. luckily, the next Justice League, the first Venditti issue, was not scheduled till February anyway, so this doesn't appear to actually affect it in any way, shape, or form.
Honestly, my biggest concern with this is whether Hell Arisen issue 2 was written under the assumption that now we would have read Justice League 39, because the first issue made a point of not spoiling the details.
Yeah, but was set after.
It was set after, whereas this time, will they have assumed that, okay, it's definitely going to be out now?
It's a good point. Maybe they'll end up pushing that as well once they realise. Because even though this should be something they realise as soon as they push this, that they'd have to push that as well. It's exactly like DC or any comic book company, to be honest, to not realise that until like 2 weeks later and go, oh shit, we should push that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Justice League, Snyder's final Justice League issue has been pushed back by 2 weeks. And at a similar level, the next Superman issue, Superman 19, has been pushed back 2 weeks as well. That was meant to be out this coming Wednesday, but has now been pushed back to January 22nd. So that's also been pushed back 2 weeks.
I wonder why.
Does it tell me? I think it does. No, it doesn't.
No, I'm wondering why it would get pushed to that week.
It could just be the art taking. I mean, Ivan Reis is on this issue, so I mean, and Joe Prado, to be fair. So it's a twofer. I wonder if it's maybe just something that happens and it relates to something else, and they've decided it'd be better to put it after another issue.
Well, because it's getting a little messy with Bendis, and I'm not going to hang this all up on him, because when we get talk about action, we get stuff that's happening before, and then you're trying to fit that in with the BS here, the villain stuff, and it's just so I'm wondering if
it could be as simple as it just something ties into another issue and they realise that this would be better to come after rather than an actual artist delay. But so Superman 19 is now coming out on the 22nd of January, so that's again a 2 week delay for that. So both those delays aren't big deals, they're both in the same month still, they're not hefty, they're just little bumps. But not a little bump, and this one's especially funny because the Birds of Prey issue 1 one-shot, the Brian Azzarello Black Label Birds of Prey 90-something page one-shot, which was supposed to be out on February 7th, and it was meant to come out before the movie, has been delayed 5 weeks and now will come out weeks after the movie's debut, making its sellability in terms of, people come out to the comic book shop, hey, you like that movie? Here's one simple comic you can buy for it.
Just a slight correction, it was meant to come out January 29th. It was meant to be week 5. I think the movie is February 7th.
Okay, I caught that date. Yeah.
Which I get. Okay, so this has already gone through a bunch of changes, because originally this was like a 4-issue mini that was going to start in like October. It was an ongoing.
It was an ongoing. It was an ongoing in the main DCU, and then it got changed to a mini in Black Label, and then it got changed again to a one-shot in Black Label.
Yeah, you're right. It did, and so I guess why the delay on this part is simply the art's not ready, because it's 96. It's basically a graphic novel at this point.
Yeah, almost.
I mean, there are graphic novels of this length. This is like a 5-issue graphic novel. Marvel's at this length.
Yeah. But they'll do an actual hardcover or whatever this later, and
they will
put some extras
this
in.
Is just being published in floppy form first, for whatever reason.
Yeah. Although it will have a spine because it's too thick not to have a spine.
Yeah, and the prestige ones typically have had spines anyway, even the thinner ones. So fair enough on that. But I think it sucks in the sense that it was going to come out the week before the movie, so if anyone went and saw the movie and then was like, hey, I want to see some of this, there would probably still have been issues of this that would have been very easy to get. If
anything, I'd have said comic shops would have intentionally ordered more than they would have because they knew that a week later a movie was coming out, they wanted to have some on the shelf, and now they come out of the shop and say, well, there's one coming out in like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah,
it doesn't help as much.
It's like, come back next month, and a lot of people won't give a shit in a month's time.
I would say that probably 80 to 90% of the people who might saunter in and buy one right after the movie won't come back a month later. You'll get a small percentage who care enough to come back.
Yeah, I agree, and that sucks in that regard. Because maybe that would have been the issue that got some people into comics, and now it probably won't be as much.
I wonder if there's actually plans for like a sequel to this at some point, and that's what the collected version will be. It'll be like 2 or 3 of these together.
That'd be a pretty big collected edition at that point.
Well, I mean, it'd be under 300 pages. It wouldn't be that absurd.
I mean, sure, yeah.
Or if it's just 2, then under 200 pages. So
yeah.
So I mean, it may not be. I'm just speculating. Like maybe they'll do you know, kind of like how Curse of the White Knight is a sequel to White Knight, maybe.
I suspect much more likely they'll just do what they did with like the Rebirth one shot and just stick it in a hardcover and sell it on the shelves, and it'll be pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah, with some extras. Yeah. I mean, it could be that Azzarello, you know, between this, all these delays with this one, and then also everything that he went through with Damned, like, he might not be that enthusiastic about doing more stuff with DC for a while.
It's possible.
That's just speculation. I mean, I have nothing to go on outside of just troubles, you know.
I'd say, there's nothing else in the works that we know of, but that doesn't mean he's not working on anything.
Yeah.
You know, just because it's not announced doesn't mean it's not happening.
So, hey, we'll see what this is like when it comes out, but we won't find out now till March 4th, so that's that. So that's your delays, and then, interestingly, this actually pertains to a book we're doing today. Joker Harley Criminal Sanity issue 3's got an artist change, which is weird because this book is so defined by its art. You know, it's very art-focused. So February 5th, Joker Harley Criminal Sanity number 3. So interesting if they actually still hit that date, and maybe this is how they'll hit that date. It's because they've got a different artist. So one of the artists is being swapped. So because obviously this book has two artists, and there's the black and white portions, there's the color portions, but it is a different artist doing both. Doing each, rather, I should say. So
I believe it's the color artist that's being replaced.
Yeah, Mike Mayhew has been replaced by Jason Badour, maybe, for the third issue. So interesting. If I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that that name is also in issue 2's cover. So I think there was already some.
Yeah, the art in 2 was kind of spotty, not like in the first one where it flowed.
You could be right. I'm sure I got
that.
Check.
I'm sure I got that name off the cover when I was writing down the creators.
Not on the cover. It's in the interiors though.
Okay.
It's Mike Mayhew, Mico Suayan with Jason Badar. Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yep.
So it sounds like he was already in the process of being replaced. Maybe that's why issue 2 got delayed so much, as it was his work that was holding it up.
Yeah.
So
could be.
Because that was the one argument for why this might hit monthly, despite the fact that it's this type of book with this art, is that it's the art is halved between two artists, and that makes it a bit more, possible. So issue 3 still scheduled for February.
I think the fact that he did work on this issue as well, though, tells me that it won't probably be a drastic change of style.
Yeah.
No.
It's probably someone who was already complimenting what he was doing. Yeah. So there you go. That's the DC Comics news. And then it may be too early next week for solicits, but I mean, if not the week after, and we'll have some juicy stuff to talk about. Because it won't be long now before we're talking about what they're doing for Free Comic Book Day and what our summer plans are for events and things like that. So
yeah, I mean, even on this, the next solicits should have issue 4 of Joker Harley Criminal Sanity in it, and we'll see if the artist change is stuck or if it's going back.
Yeah, we'll see. So there you go. That's the news. All right, let's talk about comics. We'll talk about Action Comics 1018. Brian Michael Bendis writing with John Romita Jr. on the art.
This is half a good issue for the plotting of what happened before. Okay, the stuff with Red Cloud and Melody Moore talking with Clark. I loved all that stuff. That's all stuff that Bendis.
Yeah, I like that stuff. Yeah, the backstory for Moore, for Good, for her becoming Red Cloud. Saw a little bit of storytelling we did need. The scene with Moore, which is like a day before the events of the fight that we're watching, I also liked because it was kind of neat that he told someone else who he was before he did the reveal.
Because so the whole thing is you find out that, and this is something we had been complaining about with. Where's Melody Moore at? Right? Like, she was such this character that Bendis introduced, and then we gotten away from her. And so basically her point of her character is the payoff of Metropolis needs a new mayor, and she's going to run as mayor because she's been police or fire captain or fire chief now for a little bit. And she asked Clark if he can work his magic and get Superman to endorse her because it would mean a lot. And because she's being so truthful and basically being like, her whole mission statement is truth. He feels bad lying to her.
Yeah. Well, not only that, she even says that she's inspired by Superman's truth. The whole idea of his truth is what's inspiring her. So he's like, well, okay, you know what? He takes off his glasses and he's like, okay, I'm also Superman and I will endorse you. And she's like, whoa, you're telling me this? Like, well, yeah, I'm going to reveal it tomorrow anyway. So if you can keep this secret for 41 hours, then I'll definitely endorse you. So it's a nice little moment.
It's an exercise in trust.
Yeah,
and whatnot, and I love that part. The Star Labs being shady, I can't wait for this to pay off with Bendis, because this is run through all of his books, from Superman to Young Justice to this, and if they pop up in Legion, I would not be surprised.
Yeah,
like some faction is Star Labs is responsible for why the Earth looks the way that it does.
I'll tell you what I did like about this is the discovery that whatever is going on with good, what this Red Cliff stuff is, it's intradimensional. So we were dealing with something from another dimension that's like sort of infected her or merged with her or something. I mean, who knows exactly.
It's kind of reminiscent, though. I'm starting to get like Venom vibes of it now, like the way that it enveloped her and like with the gas and whatnot.
Yeah, there's no indication that it's got a personality yet, but
no. But that's what I mean. Like it definitely could have, because she was just a hungry reporter, right? And
who kind of locked into finding this conspiracy, and the scientist, one of the scientists, just panics and knocks her out. And when they're actually discussing what to do with her, and it sounds like they're kind of like one or two of them are inching towards the idea of trying to kill her. Like, maybe we have to get rid of her, like, and then someone else is like, no, we can't do anything illegal. Let's just like apologize and like send her away.
Those are all a lot of fun. But so we get her horror movie origin where she gets backed into this scientific device, and it ends up enveloping her, and then she turns into a creature and takes them all out. I like that. And then the rest of the book with the man.
Well, she's watching
JR art.
She's watching in the distance. You're kind of skipping to the final beat there. We mentioned you're the villain because before. Well, actually, no, sorry, you're not. Sorry, it's the other thing that's at the end. Because what last issue we had the fight with the Legion of Doom and the Justice League are there. This issue, because we actually see that Melody Moore is being fire chief and helping evacuate and stuff. Because Superman like sort of like yells over at her and says, "Hey, can you try and contain this?" Blah blah. But anyway, so the big thing though is every time we cut back to they're getting their asses kicked, Superman's struggling, some of the Justice League are down. And the big final reveal at the end is that Leviathan is also there, and Leviathan, in a move that we didn't see coming, Superman didn't see coming, is actually working with the Legion of Doom here at the end of the issue. This attack in Metropolis is also involving Leviathan, which, I mean, I appreciate Bendis trying to tie in the overall stuff that's going on in DC to what he's doing, but, I mean...
At first I rolled my eyes, right? Because I was like, why? But then it makes sense about when you think about the concept of Doom and how that would be enticing to Leviathan.
My big thing though is that I just didn't want You're the Villain to infect this at all, and you mix in the atrocious art throughout this entire book, and it is atrocious. The face, I think Cora's still muted because I'm not hearing he's laughing every time.
Oh, I was muted intentionally because I was typing a second ago.
Okay.
And then I just heard you just being miserable with JR.
He's terrible. He's the worst.
No, and so like Melody Moore's a character I haven't seen in a while, and now the first time I get to see her is a JR art in a super blocky face.
He can't do faces. I'm sorry, but JR cannot do faces, and he hasn't been able to in a long time. Makes
me happy.
The other artists that we've had, like Kudransky, when they do Red Cloud, there's an etherealness to her because she's made of gas, right?
Yeah.
And vapor. But when JR draws her, I don't get that. It doesn't. She feels more like a creature, like a monster, and I don't like that vibe.
It's fitting that we always call him JR because this is definitely slobber knocker levels of bad art.
Yeah, mudhole stomped.
It's a double slobber knocker. Perfect.
Like it's so I mean, so half the issue I really like, despite the bad art. The other half I get there, I'm just like I'm over You're the Villain at this point. I don't care.
We're all over it. I think we're all ready for it to be done.
But yeah.
So it is what it is. No, again, I like the Moore stuff. I like the good stuff. It's just, and when I say good, I don't mean the good stuff. I mean the character good stuff.
Right.
In terms of what the story is, but the actual wraparound you're the villain fight and the art is just terrible. So it's really hard to rate this issue, Matt. I don't know where you're landing on it.
Yeah, this is a 6, and mainly because I liked the more stuff and the good stuff, like pizza. But the rest of it, I can't.
Painfully low from Matt.
Yeah, especially for a book that I love.
Mm-hmm.
The action was in my top, so
not a great start to the year, is what you're saying.
No,
I think I'm probably going to go with a 6. Yeah. Well, no, because there's parts of the book that I really like, there's parts I don't like, and then I hate the art. You know what? No, I'm going to go with a 5. And I hate to do that because there's parts of the book that I really like. Mm-hmm. But I absolutely despise the art, and then there's also parts of the wraparound story that I just also really dislike. Luckily, the flashbacks do take up most of the story. I mean, I'd say it's more than half, but unfortunately, the art is just a killer in this one. So 5 out of 10 for me. Even though I do like a lot of what Bendis is doing with these characters. So there's definitely things I like, but overall, I have to go with a 5.
See, what I like about this is that he's added so many characters now to the Superman supporting cast. I'm going to include Naomi in that too.
Sure.
But more and the mayor and the one lady. I always forget her name.
Such a compelling character.
Leon.
No, I just because she owns the Daily Planet.
The boss, Leon. Yeah.
Yeah. And then all of her generals and whatnot. He does a lot of great character building stuff, and then just to bring it. And I just feel like they needed someone to put JR. Don't put him here though. Send him over to Flash. I'm not enjoying Flash right now. Let him go do that up there. Go.
Oh yeah, that's just what Flash needs, to be even worse.
Well,
on that topic, that'll take us on to The Flash, issue 85. Joshua Williamson writing with Christian Duce on the art.
I mean, I can give you this review in 3 words.
Okay.
It's still shit.
However, they are in a mirror, so there's that. That helps a little bit.
We have Golden
That's
Glider.
Just getting satisfaction out of being bright.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have Golden Glider in her mummy bandages, kind of flirting with Flash almost. They're sharing some chicken, and she's talking about why she's going against her brother. The other rogues, Heatwave and Weather Wizard, are trying to train the kid Flashes to retrain with their powers again because of all the danger they're done right now. But they still have to wear their collars. It's helping a little bit, but it's not going fast enough. Barry, and this part really annoyed me. So Golden Glider says, "How about I teach you to skate?" And he's like, "I have no skates." And she says, "Well, I've seen you run in water before. You don't need skates." Well, it's not really skating there, is it? It's just riding a bit on ice.
Here's the whole thing. The reason why Weather Wizard. The reason why Captain Cold usually has an edge on Barry is because he can ice the ground.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Now, if he could just do this...
It's classic Home Alone tactics.
Yeah. No, it is. Real quick side note. I don't know if you guys have watched it yet, but there's that documentary series, The Toys That Made Us. They've done a spinoff called The Movies That Made Us. And one of the episodes on Home Alone, and those stunt guys, from doing those falls as Harry and Marv, that became, I forget what the stuntman's name, that type of fall from on the ice and stuff became like a term in the stunt world. And they really fell like hundreds of times. So when you say the Home Alone tactics, I know people that can survive that. But yeah, just think about that. Falling on the ice that many times. No, thank you.
Yeah.
And I'd rather do that than read this book. So
I'll do this.
Are you still reading the next issue, Matt?
Yes, because I have no control.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing
it's the Flash.
I don't know. Just the way you said that then felt like maybe he doesn't want to do this anymore.
Well, no, it's like I gotta get to the end of this.
It was hyperbole anyway. I'm pretty sure if I took Matt out on the ice and sweep the leg, he'd probably say, you know what? No, I'm reading a bad issue of Flash and 10 minutes is
hey,
better.
Hey man, I've taken jiu-jitsu. I know how to fall flat.
Oh sure.
Do you know how to fall flat on the ice?
Yeah, I've fallen on the ice before. It's not fun. I don't recommend it. But I have a strong and wide enough back that I can bounce up. Now, staying up, that's the trick. But yeah. So, anyways, I got satisfaction that they are in a mirror. The rest of it, this is one of the first things I read just to get out of the way, like ripping off a Band-Aid.
Sure.
Ready for this to be over.
Yeah, I don't remember much of the rest of it, but
they fought a lot of mirror people and then wolves, and yeah.
Well, no, that's not this issue. This issue, they go in to get Captain Cold, and Captain Cold does a freeze bomb thing that freezes everyone. Well, actually, they don't go to get Captain Cold. They go to get Mirror Master, thinking that they can use him to change everything, and then
and then they fight a bunch of mirror people.
Aye, but it wasn't wolves, was there? In this one?
It's in the next page. I'm looking at wolves right now.
That's okay. It's a small part of this issue. The big wolves thing was like an issue or two ago.
Oh, the actual big fight, but they're still there.
But the main thing here is that it's a trap, and Captain Cold sets off like a freeze bomb, and we see that Lex Luthor's upgrades were like ice powers. He's got like ice fists, and the last page is him and Flash going to fight. Everyone else is frozen. What was that?
Thrilling. Just back to ice powers.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
This reeks of New 52 DDO.
What I really don't get though is at the start of this run, I think it was the start of this run, it was about getting back to basics for Cold and being like, hey, we don't need those stupid powers. We've got what we've always had. And now here it's powers are an upgrade. Screw all that.
That's what I was going to say is I remember reading that DDO had told the Flash writers in New 52, no, we need to make the rogues like super powered. It can't just be the gadgets because this is a new era, and nobody really liked it.
I get where the thought's coming from for that mandate.
Me too.
It didn't work and it was wrong.
No.
But I understand the rationale.
But why are we doing it? 8 years later, and this might just be contained to this, but I don't know, man. I always loved the rogues because they weren't super powered, right? Like. These are all people that when a superpowered hero showed up in their city, they, found technology.
The reverse Batman.
Right, exactly. And and sure, Cold doesn't know much about technology outside of his cold gun because he's used it so much that he knows how it operates, right?
But that's enough.
That's right. And now when you just give him these cold powers and are the ice gauntlets cool looking? Sure, but maybe in like a D&D campaign, and you do that with your mage character. Not in the Flash. I don't know. I hate it. Not my Flash.
Hashtag not my Flash. Release the Skullthorpe cut.
No, don't do that.
That's spreading. There's released the JJ cut now, and it's terrible.
Which is stupid because was there?
He did.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, they're convinced he didn't.
Yeah, well, they're convinced of a lot of stupid. Let's not this whole gatekeeping thing. Let's just cut it. Oh man.
I mean,
just enjoy Star Wars. There's so many different Star Wars out there. If you don't like the movies, go read the books, right?
Oh, let's not turn this into a Star Wars talk.
I'm not. It just, if I had another Flash book, well, no, I do, and I'm not reading that one either. However, if there was a third Flash book that I could go read, that wasn't all this.
Still be shot.
I'd be happy.
That's what we are right now. Every Flash is shit.
I'm just taking it as an insult. They're taking away all my favorite characters except for Superman. I feel like I had to sacrifice my other favorite characters so Superman got a lift up.
Think how I feel.
Dick Grayson, Wally West, Barry, Hal's over at flipping Morrison Land doing weird shit. I
won't argue with that.
Starfire's over in Odyssey doing stuff.
I lost all of that. And Superman.
Yeah, well, you could. You're just being stubborn. It's not because it's bad. You just don't like Bendis.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different.
It's bad.
That's Carter's bad taste.
You just gave this issue a 6 and a 5, so shut up the pair of you.
Yeah, but
mostly because of the art.
Action and Superman were still in my top 10, man. And Young Justice.
Were.
So, yeah.
Were.
1 week issue does not a bad run make.
Exactly.
Shut up.
and on Flash, we've said this way too many times, but I still can't quit it because I need to know if it's going to get better. I need it to get better.
I'm convinced now it's not.
We have to be near the end of the run at this point. I can't see it going much past 100 issues. So
no,
we've still got probably the rest of this year.
Yeah,
6-7 months will get us to almost 100 issues.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting most of this year still.
It depends if you want to wait till 5G kind of kicks in or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. The issue is just like I don't really even get mad at it. It's just kind of really mundane and mediocre levels of.
This isn't even the worst issue. I'm just sick of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not digging the direction of everything that's happening. Pretty much.
And that's where we've been, and You're the Villain has just exacerbated it.
Yeah.
So it's made it way worse.
Yeah.
If anything, Flash might be the worst affected book.
Yeah.
In terms of You're the Villain.
Probably is, yeah.
Yeah. So that sucks. Matt, what are you giving it?
Maybe that's a 4.5.
Matt might as well have found the creators and taken them out to a woodshed with a nail gun with that rating.
And I don't want to do that because I like Williamson a lot, and that's what drives me nuts. And maybe because he's plotting the new nail biter, and that's why this is falling by the wayside and it's not getting its full attention. I don't know, but yeah.
All right, Connor, what you rating it?
4.
We didn't really talk about the art much. Christian Duce's art is fine. It's not.
It's fine. It's not enough to salvage anything. It's not. It doesn't make it any worse though.
Yeah. I will. Yeah, I'll agree with the 4. I can't really. There's not much nicer things to say. We're just so out of the story at this point that it really has to. This arc at least has to end before it has a chance of really winning us back. Before it can do anything else.
How many? Surely it's only one more. Surely.
We're hoping.
This was only part 4. I'm really hoping this isn't a 6-part.
I mean, you could go. I mean, there's solicits up to March now, so you could go read the solicits and find out when the next arc starts.
Maybe I should do that because I'm really sick of this.
Give you an idea of when the change will happen. That'll take us on to Batgirl number 42. This is Cecil Castellucci on writing with Carmine D. Giandomenico on the art. This is the final issue in the Oracle Rising arc. Wraps that up. And mainly focuses around the idea of Babs having to do things that she wouldn't normally do. Think in ways that she wouldn't normally think so that the Oracle can't outsmart her, can't predict what she's doing. It leads to her leaving decoys of herself around the city and
that was fun.
Various other things. Yeah, no, this issue is mostly solid. I don't know how I feel about the kiss. At the end of the issue, she kisses Bard.
I don't like it. No. It's been a bad 2 weeks for characters kissing. Didn't like it. This one not as much as the other one. This one didn't make me throw my hat or anything.
Well, I think with this one at least, I don't necessarily love it, but I can't deny that they've at least been seeding the idea that there's an attraction.
It felt inevitable.
Yeah.
Right. And it's very Romeo and Juliet where they're star-crossed. They probably shouldn't, but emotions and whatnot are weird things. So that's fine. I trust in help me out with the last name here.
Castellucci. Yeah.
Castellucci, thank you. I kept wanting to say Giandomenico. I was like, no, that's the artist. But with Castellucci, I trust them enough that this will pay off eventually. And there's a reason for it.
Joe, this creative team really is a battle of who can have more syllables in their last name.
Yeah.
So, and it's Giandomenico for the record, but still, it's close. But no, I mean the issue is Babs running around and because the issue starts with her on the run because she sort of fled at the end of the last issue, and it's her sort of trying to outwit Oracle and the terrible trio end up wanting to help her. Vulture's definitely arrested by the end. The others probably too, although it's not. I don't think made completely clear.
Yeah, I do feel like the terrible trio are going to be, Babs, thorn in Babs' side for this.
If anything, I see them almost becoming her rogues in terms of
that. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they're going to be around in various forms. So
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too. I like it. I mean, the way that we got a new shark when Castellucci started, you know, shows
we can always just throw new characters in there.
Yeah, just throw a new mask on them, you know?
I liked the big climatic moment is when she's fighting Oracle and she's holding Bard, who's fallen over the edge of the building, and Bard's like, no, you have to drop me so you can beat her. Like, this is the only option you have. And she drops him into like a dumpster to hopefully, you know, not kill him. But she does have to make that choice. So, I mean, I like that as a dramatic beat. And then she ultimately obviously wins and saves the day. But no, I mean, I think I don't know if I like this arc as much as the last arc, where we introduced the election stuff and we introduced the Terrible Trio. I think I had more fun with that. Maybe spent an issue too long in Burnside being, you know, sort of in chaos without enough distinct things to do. But other than that, I enjoyed it.
I feel this was a long send off to the Burnside stuff, because we get a destruction of that costume. You know, Babs finds that old purple costume from the Burnside section of her history and uses it as part of the decoy. And we clearly see it get all destroyed. And kind of what she decides of, you know, of what being Batgirl means and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like we're putting an end to the Burnside stuff, and that's cool. Like, we can move on and whatnot. It's kind of like when Dick Grayson left Bloodhaven.
Yeah, I don't think we're done with actually being there, but yeah, I see what you mean with the sort of spiritual. Yeah.
Like it's tied to her identity, and this is what, you know, she went here to become something different. Now she's who she is and whatnot.
I think saying we're kind of done with the younger Babs.
Yeah.
So, I think the fact that she's clearly going to be dating like Bard, who's like what, at least in his late 20s. You know, he's not a young. You know, he's a cop. Like he's
enough to be a detective, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's old enough. So even if he came up through the ranks real quick, that's still, you know.
He looks like early mid-30s to me, to be honest.
Yeah. And to me, Babs is out of college, even if she couldn't finish quick, so she's in her mid-20s.
Yeah, I'd say she's in her mid-20s now. That's at least.
I guess it only looks a little weird because he doesn't look like he's, you know, the way he's been drawn recently, it doesn't look like he's that much younger than Gordon, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of feels a bit weird in that way, but
being a cop ages you.
Because the book ends with her, you know, leaving a call for her dad, saying that she's kind of forgiven him for their fight, and she'll always be his daughter. So I mean, it kind of ends with that kind of in place. So we'll see what they do next with the next arc. I think what's interesting going forward is that this arc was very much kind of wrapping up stuff that the previous writer had set up. For whatever reason, we switched writers at a kind of a weird point. And it was handled pretty well, I think, by Castellucci. But I'm curious to see what Castellucci does, kind of starting a bit more fresh with their own stuff. In the next arc.
That's what we'll see. We know we get a new villain coming up, right? Because that stuff didn't they get redrawn? Like they brought in a different artist and changed stuff around.
Yeah, they redid Deshu or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, like Batgirl's been consistent from the very beginning, and this just keeps that up. Like. It's always a pleasure to read. Like, it's never a book where I'm like, oh yeah, Batgirl's out. It's always like, oh.
I found it slipping recently over the last few issues. Like this issue as well, I felt like really compounded on how wordy it feels to me. Like it feels like there's a lot. It's really overly dense, and especially when you've got a really strong artist, I'm kind of feeling it more. So that was kind of. Ruined my enthusiasm a little bit.
I feel like a lot of that came from the Oracle speak, though. I wonder if it'll feel that way without Oracle being there.
Yeah. You could be right. On that note, there was a weird thing in the letter in that I really hated. And it's to do with the Oracle lettering choice. And so there's a bit where, you know, she sees like Frankie and a couple of others, and it's, you know, and she's you know, it's like Oracle doing some projection thing, right?
Yeah, she's talking through them with the Borg or something like that.
Yeah, but I think it's really ruined that. We can see that, you know, it's Oracle doing that because they've got the Oracle speech bubbles immediately when, you know, Babs has no idea yet. She's like, you know, she's hearing it and goes, oh, that doesn't sound like Frankie. And then you get the reveal. I feel like it's completely undermined by just putting it as Oracle speech the whole time.
I don't know if I agree with this just because I don't think it was supposed to be a reveal. I feel like we were supposed to know it was her, you know, it was Oracle speaking through them the whole time.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. It just felt weird to me to introduce it.
It was to let us know, but the way I read it is that to Babs, it was coming through their actual voice, right?
Yeah, I think it was just weird for me that it was a whole page of Babs listening to them, and then a big full page of her going, "Oh my God, it's Oracle," speaking through them. It felt really just flat to me that since the very start of those 2 pages, it's like, yeah, of course it's Oracle. We can, the lettering just tells us. I didn't enjoy that.
I felt like it was more the full page spread was about just the visual of what it looks like her being jacked into their brains, because it was this kind of like weird representation, right? To me, the whole point of the speech bubble is that their voice does sound a little bit off, because we're supposed to, and that's how we see that it's off, because we see the Oracle, style of text,
Yeah, I get that. It was just, I don't know. For me, just to immediately show us that before Batgirl even hears anything and is wrong, before she knows anything's wrong, we do immediately, and it kind of took all the,
because we knew Oracle had them last issue, so nothing about.
Well, we did, and but I still think because it starts with Baz being like, "This looks like a trap," and I think you can still play that without them, without going, "Oh, it's being plugged through Oracle," and doing the Oracle speak. This could still be a trap. And you could have played with that, and instead it just kind of completely undercut all the pacing of these couple of pages for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's just because I feel like we were supposed to know immediately. That's how I read it.
No, I get that, but I think that was objectively for me the wrong choice, because it completely kind of took away the flow of those 2 pages by knowing immediately.
Fair enough. How'd you feel, Matt?
No, it was fine. I got over it real quick. Like I said, like Pete said, it's like the Borg. I took it from Bad's perspective. She could tell there was something off by the way they were talking, but it was still their voices. It wasn't Oracle's voice being projected through them. Yeah. So, but how do you show that in the art?
Maybe do the lettering, but don't do the green outline or something like that. Like
maybe there's something just or as it goes on, you shift more into the Oracle writing. You kind of fade into it a bit more as she's realizing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. But that was a fine issue. And given that I rated my first 2 books a 5 and a 4, this is going to come out on top regardless of what I give it, really. But Matt, what are you giving Batgirl 42?
Oh no, this is a. Do I go with the higher score? No. You know what I will. I'm gonna give this one an 8.
Really?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, the art's there. I like the story.
Yeah,
and compared to the last 2, it was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, I will say my favorite art probably from DJ Domenico is probably when they find the first sort of like decoy Batgirl and she's all in shadows and stuff. I thought that looked really nice. It was a really nice page. What are you giving it, Connor?
I'm gonna give it a 6.5. I like a lot of the core beats, but I think it's just a bit overwritten for me.
That's fair. I'm gonna give it a 7. I think it's solid. I do actually agree there is maybe a bit too much text in there at times, and I am looking forward to an issue of Batgirl without all the green Oracle coloring everywhere.
It's gonna be nice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a different color scheme. But no, it's been a fine arc. It was a fine issue to wrap it up with. So the kiss, I mean, but yeah, we'll see. So that'll take us on to Justice League Dark issue 18. James Tynion the 4th and Alvaro Martinez on the art. So take it away, guys.
Yeah.
Where to start? Start with Diana stuff.
Well, yeah, but they are teasing Eclipso so much here. It's palpable.
Oh no! It's every issue. Like, is this the moment?
Yep. And so I don't. And Eclipso's one of those characters. I don't know why I enjoy them so much. I just do. Like, I can't point to any other stories where I was like, oh yeah, Eclipso was awesome in this. I guess it's just the
general idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. But yeah, you can start with the Diana stuff.
Yeah, because she's still in the other world. And
the Upside Down Man.
The Upside Down Man showed up, and she kind of has to make a deal with him.
Yeah, make a deal with the devil. And it is a very Faustian pact because, and what I like here is it's Tynion taking time through Diana's point of view to show that the other kind really isn't this otherworldly creation, right? They are monsters, but it's the sense of balance here is that, like, Hecate's the goddess of magic, and that basically the Upside Down Man is just the corruption of the inverse of her. Yeah. So whatever that means, so to me that gives it a path of the Upside Down Man not always being this grotesque monster, you know, that's only out to release the rest of the other kind. Because then when you think back to that one issue that we had where it's Man-Bat telling all the stories.
Oh, and he's there stalking them.
Yeah, and that you see what the other kind are, and it's basically just corruption of magic.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Upside Down Man, he wants balance here.
Yeah, because he feels Hecate stole magic, which is a Greek myth kind of deal, right? When you think about Prometheus and Pandora and how you throw in Hecate there, that Hecate he feels stole and unleashed something that wasn't hers on the world, and it changed it, and now it's all out of whack.
Exactly, and that's the deal that they make here is he'll give Diana her body back and let her tap into all that magical potential that she's always had.
Mm-hmm.
And in return, she stops Cersei and and the others, and then will kind of realign magic to be more balanced, so it isn't as chaotic as it is. If not, if she fails, Diana has to stand aside and do nothing as he eats all of magic alive. If we can't have balance, you don't get it at all, basically.
All right. And see, now with the balance, we see where Naboo came in, right?
Yeah.
Or why Naboo allied himself with the Upside Down Man and the other kind.
Yeah. To him, that is a balance is
much preferable.
Yeah.
Right. But I always feel with Naboo, it's only order, and you can have negativity in only order. And,
sure.
Right. So, not necessarily he's a good guy. He just that fits his point of view better.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just those scenes with them in the other realm, he's so creepy. Like, it's very unnerving.
And
the big mouth.
The the other ghost that's trapped in there with Diana. Witchfire. Yes, thank you. That at the end, just to prove his point, he eats
her ghost.
Yeah, he eats her ghost, and it's terrifying.
Yep, and it's very Frighteners, where you have the ghost killing the other ghosts.
Yeah.
And that makes it even more unsettling because they're like, wait, how do you kill a ghost? Well, if you're him, it's just as simple as
taking a bite out of their
throat. Yeah, right. So, but yeah, no, it's
great.
Yeah, that's so great. And
back in the real world, we have the rest of the team fighting the Injustice League Dark. So a lot of great action going on here when they bring out the dragon.
Yep. So I also love the zombie Grundy is basically trying to break through this door and losing pieces of himself as it's happening.
Yeah, it's just falling apart.
Yeah, that cracked me up. And you got Clarion throwing shade at Cersei over it.
Yeah.
Which that just brought me back to Game of Thrones. Those two names, Clarion and Cersei, very much
sure
Game of Thrones adjacent, right? So
I can see that.
But yeah, that dragon. Give me that dragon's name again, because I saw Tynion.
Dracul Carfang.
Right.
That's a Carfang with a K.
Yeah.
And holy shit, it looks incredible.
Yeah.
Like it's a huge, massive dragon, and it's impressive as hell.
Yeah, so this was the dragon skeleton that we saw in their portion of the Hall of Justice.
Yeah, because you see she puts the coin, you see the skeleton, she kind of brings it back to life, but it looks huge with all of its skin and stuff there.
Yeah, so this dragon was from the JLA, A League of One.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm trying to see what that was about, but it's not. I'm gonna have to go back and find and read this now, though.
Yeah.
Because then it was written and drawn by Christopher Moeller, and it looks like a fantasy story.
I'm in.
Mixed with it, yeah. Anyways, that's where Tynion pulled this from, so that's pretty cool. You can just tell that he's doing his homework. But yeah, this dragon comes up and is just ready to wreck.
And then you cut to Constantine going, all right, yeah, this is really quite bad, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And
you've got simple Bobo just, making a mess, causing chaos,
tearing pieces into people,
yeah.
And he's no help,
Yeah. Zatanna's still just got a hole in her face at the minute, so she has to heal herself so that back to normal.
Which I do love that Constantine gives her props for. That was quite the knife trick. But yeah, she's almost tempted by Eclipso here.
It's coming.
And she just wonders what her father and Constantine had in mind, to put the series into play. And they look around and they're surrounded by magical objects.
Yeah, they're in an armory of all these confiscated things. They're like, well, maybe we should just use them.
And so the Injustice League Dark pops in, and they're all surrounded by that stuff. But Khalid, as they're fighting, he goes to the helm. Yeah,
and we're getting him back as Dr. Fate next issue,
right? Which I'm sure excited you. I instantly thought of you.
Oh yeah, no, because I really love that little series that he had. I thought it was criminally underrated, underread more likely. I think everyone who read it did really like it.
So my thing on this then is, can him and Kent coexist?
I would say yes, because Kent is at a point now where he's not using Fate's magic. He's only using his own magic that he's learned, which is why he's a lot weaker right now. He just has all the knowledge that he's learned over decades. Whereas
I like that, because now you can have both.
Yeah.
You can have Khalid and have that new Dr. Fate, but now you can have Kent Nelson who's past that Dr. Fate.
Yeah, he's still got power. He's not as strong as he would have been with the helmet, but he's got his own power that he's learned over years. Because as we've established, even in this very book, other people can learn to do magic. It's it's not exclusive to only certain people. You can learn it, and over the years, Kent has learned these things from Naboo mostly, but all the reading that he did in the tower and such. He's got a pretty big wealth of knowledge. And
so that's where it ends. It looks like as we're talking about the Upside Down Man bringing order to the chaos, and now you have Naboo, who's the last we saw was with the Lords of Order and whatnot. It's a
great issue.
It's real fun. Yeah, and the art by Bueno is really, really good. Like it fits the rest of the tone of the book.
Yeah,
so,
the action's great. The colors are pretty fantastic. I'm not sure who's on colors, but the great work. And that dragon, when that showed up, and then you get like a double page spread of it showing up, being reborn, and then the full page of it, looking down on Cersei, and it's it's impressive.
Pretty much, so this dragon, that's good. I'm just going through it. There's that page where they have they're looking up beneath the Hall of Justice at the dragon being, reborn.
Yeah.
Where Constantine goes, okay, it really is that bad, huh?
Yeah.
Just that page of reactions is really.
They're
good.
all like, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this is a great issue. I'll probably give it an 8.5.
Oh yeah, me too. 8.5. It's basically the strongest book thus far, which shouldn't be surprised anymore because it's been consistently that strong, I feel.
Yeah.
And especially when it gets away from the intricacies of magic, when it's just allowing itself to be this fun horror infused book.
Yeah.
And
Tynion's doing some great work. Looking forward to his Batman next week. Joe, he's actually been tweeting over the last couple of hours a lot about his Batman book. At the end, I might read out a couple of the highlights.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that when I was looking through the hockey Twitter at the break. And I saw he said something about Clayface, and it was just a quick. I didn't read the full tweet.
Yeah,
if he does anything like he did with Clayface in this new run, I'll be quite happy.
Yeah, leave this till the end because some people might skip this section if they're not listening to or not reading GL Dark. I do want to throw in here. I was laughing in the middle of that because I got an email notification about a comment. So just want to hear the newest negative Dracula comment.
Yes, I do.
All right. As soon as I finish writing this comment, I will close this channel and I will never see your broadcast again. Awful review.
Thank you.
Can't wait. Well, bye.
People are so salty on this one.
I'll do my best Powers Booth impression.
I don't get it. Like, are they just big Moffat fans? Are they just really love Dracula?
I don't know. That's happened with Sherlock as well. When we were really negative about the last season of Sherlock, we got a lot of nasty comments. People who disagree with us.
I feel like there was a lot more people on our side in that case as well.
There's still people on our side in this, but it's not 50-50. It's more 2/3 against us, 1/3 for us.
I saw from one of the comments what happened in the third episode, or at least just the general premise.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
I was like, oh boy, that went places.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, very, very intrigued. But anyway,
you know, if I had more time and wasn't behind on TV, I would watch this just to see.
Don't. You've got other things to watch, but
yeah,
more important things to watch. All right. Anyway, that'll take us on to Lois Lane, number 7. This is Greg Rucka writing, of course, with Mike Perkins on the art. And what I thought was interesting about this is that, you know, Action Comics actually tied into the Superman reveal. Lois hasn't done it yet, because in this issue of Lois, no one knows quite, because there's a lot in this issue of Renee kind of like joking about, you know, Lois spending the night with Superman and like, hey, you're married, blah 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 blah. So in this book, it's not been revealed yet. I assume it's going to happen soon, because I feel like I want Renee's reaction now, because Renee was giving her such shit about it this issue that I need Renee's reaction to Clark and Superman being the same.
Don't worry.
And mind you, while she's hitting on this new housekeeper that cleaned up after Lois, after the other lady
who clearly killed the previous maid from this hotel.
So with you know how Rucka's not afraid of politics and whatnot, and we had that early in this run, they were talking about, you know, the real life stuff that's happening with the U.S. border and the detainments. That's where I thought it was going, and that, you know, her housekeeper got wrapped up in all of that, and she couldn't work there anymore.
And
then there was that turn.
Yeah, I was definitely expecting the housekeeper to turn out to be someone. I was not expecting the face to come off Scooby-Doo style to reveal a skull.
Yep. No, me neither.
That was intense.
To the point where for a second I was like, wait, is this like Bones? And I was like, nah, this is someone else. I think this is someone else.
So, yeah. And so basically what Renee tells Lois is that there is a price on her head, and that the people that she went to investigate, she got evidence of, where she gave him the Batman treatment by hanging him out. And Lois gets all mad. She's like, well, no, this is not admissible. This isn't, I can't write a story on this, because you got this evidence, you know, basically illegally by doing the Batman treatment.
It's because it was coerced, and what can you do?
Right. If you were a cop, you'd be fired. Like, you can't do this. And we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And so I liked all that. But then it comes to find out that, it might have been coerced, but it's true, because when the housekeeper pulls off the face Scooby-Doo style, we see a conversation going through about the money being wired, and that there's another person there, and that's going to up the price a little bit.
A lot.
Yeah, this seems, I mean, unless someone like sort of pulls, you know, this is a great pull from DC history, this seems to be a new character who's an assassin that's coming after Lois by the looks of it.
Yep.
And
I wouldn't be surprised if someone's being pulled, but...
Yeah, it could be. It very well could be. I mean, there's a lot of comics to pull from. But what I really like is just the irony here that Renee's, you know, quote unquote watching her back, and she does technically save her from a photographer who's trying to take a photo, and that's when Superman kind of runs into her.
That was a fun sequence.
That was a very fun sequence. But I love the irony that she actually flirted with the assassin instead of, you know, like noticing that something's fishy. She's like, hey, I get a drink around here. And then Lois pulling her up for it. Honestly, a lot of the banter from like when she was out of the hotel and Renee like giving her shit for like being with Superman and like, oh, it's none of my business. But
just her pretending to be horrified when she gets to the room. It's like, it's been cleaned.
Yeah.
And then Lois being furious.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, really, really fun stuff. That was a lot of the issue. The opening scene was a little bit different. No, in fact, I'll be honest. Because of the art, I thought it was Lois in disguise as a nun for a little bit.
Yeah.
A very Lois looking face to me, but I mean that's fine.
so there's definitely something going on here, because that was Jessica Midnight. This is the character that set me off on my checkmate read. Through that first book. She didn't kill herself. She did attempt, though.
Yeah, she's in a convent. Yeah, she's in a convent right now, being looked after by nuns.
And she's there because she knows Leviathan's coming after the spies. So now this means that checkmate is in disarray, because if she's on the outs and doesn't know who she can trust, that means they're gone, which is interesting. especially with Rucka.
I'm really intrigued to see where this is going because it feels so removed from everything else in the book right now.
Yep.
Yeah. I would even surprise me if this is Lois in disguise and it's set for later down the line. Like we get to this point more.
It could be.
You know,
unless it says the time at the start, because I know it has a location. Does it have a time?
Oh,
no, it doesn't.
It just says the Royal Wolverhampton, UK.
Yeah.
I don't know. She doesn't have purple eyes, and the art here.
That's fair.
With the nun.
Wearing contacts, I suppose, if you really wanted to play that way.
But I feel like if you wanted to let us know that this was Lois, you would have given her the purple eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assumed it was Lois until it cut to like Lois, and I'm like, oh wait, I guess that wasn't Lois then. I guess that's someone else. But now I'm thinking about it though. I mean, it could be like a little setup where we'll.
If they really wanted it to be, it could, but I suspect it's probably not.
It's probably not. She felt like her at least to a point.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that was a solid issue. I think the relationship between Lois and Renee is really good. I like that it kind of slowed down here and just dealt with the information she's got, but just like I say, actually spending time doing all this banter and having because I'm actually excited. I'm actively excited about Renee finding out that Clark is Superman and when that's going to pop up, presumably soon, given that other books are starting to address it. So. And we know Rucka with Lois and Fraction with Jimmy have been working with Bendis to keep all the super books kind of in line with each other.
Yeah, and now you throw in Supergirl with that too.
I hope.
And that issue that's going to be coming out, I feel that's where they'll all pay off at.
Yeah, I just really hope that it doesn't happen like between issues. I really hope we get Renee's live reaction to. Wait, like Superman's Clark? Damn it!
That would be quite funny.
Yeah, because it's funny because a lot of Lois's dialogue sounds really kind of mean if you didn't know that Superman was also Clark. Which is like, oh, how I handle my marriage is my business. Like it sounds really cold to anyone who doesn't know that Superman and Clark are the same person.
Yeah, well, and when you see that type of stuff, like I don't know if you've had friends that you found out we're double timing their significant others. That's stuff that I've heard. That's my business, not your business. Stay out of it. And I was like, all right, someone's defensive, And so the fact that it comes off as defensive, I quite enjoy.
Good.
Like, shocker, Rucka's a great writer.
Because this is the thing. If you think about this situation, there's nothing that Lois could say that would play it off as somehow innocent, but also, like it has to come off sounding defensive because there's no other way it would come off.
Well, I also love that Renee doesn't seem that shocked either. Like, if you're in this world, right, and we know of Lois Lane, we know of Superman, of course they're hooking up, right? Like, she named him.
Although I did love the morning after stuff with Clark, where he's like, Renee's going to have a lot of questions.
Bad pun, honey. Yeah, I like that one. It was...
Great puns.
But yeah, no, I thought the art, this is the strongest the art's been, I think. Like, it feels it's not as sketchy and as dark, and maybe that's just because of, the setting.
A lot of it is set in the daytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but yeah, no, the art here, I'm trying to find the artist because I forget the name. Perkins. I do that every month. Yeah, I think this is the strongest it's been. Even just with the expressions of, like, Renee, when I'm getting to that page.
When she's flirting?
Yeah, when she's flirting, she has the smile on her face.
Yeah, it's good.
It's very clear. And then even Lois and her, when she's arguing with Renee, and you can just feel the tension there about her marriage and stuff. It's all there. Yeah. The colors are real nice.
And I will say, I expected the twist essentially with the housekeeper, but I did not expect a face coming off to reveal a skull. So even though it did the obvious twist, it did it in such a visually spectacular way that I was really into it anyway. So I'm like, yeah, okay.
It looked
I'm trying to think of all the skull villains we have that,
Well, we got
never have too many skull villains.
Atomic Skull, we got Bones, I guess Black Mask kind of, but it's not really a skull in the same way. But
didn't count that.
It looks skullish.
Phosphorus, but the Phosphorus clothes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, this has got to be a new character.
Yeah. Because at first I thought, wait, was Bones like pretend to be a woman? But no, I think that is just her body. Like she has.
I think so.
Yeah.
It says next time the kiss of death, and I'm wondering if that's her name, kiss of death, because there are the lips on the forehead, like a kiss.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wonder if she tries to seduce Renee and takes her out Poison Ivy style. Not kills her, but disables her.
Temporarily incapacitates.
Yes. So.
Or she tried but can't get through the mask. That'd be cool.
Wow.
Interesting. Anyway, what are you giving it, Matt?
Oh, this is 8.5.
Connor?
Solid 8 from me.
I will give it a solid 8 as well, and I am happy to finally give something an 8 this week. It's just didn't start off too strong. My first couple weren't that hot. So that'll take us on to Dial H for Hero number 10, at least Connor anyway. This is Sam Humphries writing and Joe Quinones on the art.
Yeah, this issue is spectacular. It opens with explaining the link between the H-Dials and the multiverse by splitting everything into the multiverse on the the phone dial thing. So you have you have the center with the House of Heroes, and then you've got the Ori of Worlds, and all the standard 52 Earth multiverse map that you can picture, the one from Multiversity, and then around that you have the numbers on the phone that are for the extra layers. So at the top you have like a Dream and and Limbo above it. You have Heaven, Speed Forces on there. You've got Hell, Apocalypse. So that's kind of where these other places kind of fit. It's why why Apocalypse always exists, sort of thing. And then outside of that, you've got the Sphere of the Gods and the Pit. And that's like the opening of this is the operator there going, so hang on, look, I need you to pay attention because multiverse shit going on here, and it's I'm going to explain it with the telephone dial, and this is how it all works. And then we get them traveling through there. It's Miguel and Summer traveling through the multiverse is the first part of the issue. We see them just go to all sorts of various worlds. We see like Batman Beyond. We see one where Batman and Superman are both women. All sorts. We see the Earth 9 Superman there at one point, and I think that might be the Earth 2 Superman. I can't remember what Earth 9's costume was like. So it might be the Earth 2. It might be him. I can't remember his name. Damn it, that's going to annoy me. But anyway, they reach their target, and it is Earth 32, which I don't know if we knew what Earth 32 was before, but now it is this. It is a world of mashups. And as far as the citizens of Earth 32 are concerned, every other Earth is actually them split apart, and nothing is whole in the same way that they are.
Yep, no, that's what it was according to the Multiversity guidebook. So at least since Multiversity,
this is pretty consistent.
What Earth 32 has been. Yep.
So we open in.
Just the characters. You can check.
No, Matt, you mic. Yeah, I'll just we open in Gothamopolis. Because of course we do.
Right. So this you have Aquaflash, you got Bat Lantern, Black Arrow, Lightspeed, and then you got Super Martian and Wonder Hawk.
Yeah, some of these will show up. I'll talk about a few others that appear.
What the hell's Lightspeed? I'm trying to think what the combination is.
Yeah, I'm not entirely certain, to be honest with you.
Oh, son of a... it's the Flash of Earth 32, member of the Justice Titans, Linda Park. Huh. Doesn't say what her combos are.
That's annoying. But yeah, so
anyways, go ahead.
We get to Gothamopolis, and we have the Daily Arkham. And there's a bunch of like jokes as, well, is it just an Arkham newspaper? Is it owned by Arkham, or is it news for the asylum? Like who knows? And then we get introduced to Super Martian, and there's a big fight scene with a bunch of heroes fighting the Harlequinator. It's a big giant Harley Quinn robot. But there's a bunch of like mashups on here. There's Mr. Terrific crossed with Red Tornado, Dr. Fate crossed with Firestorm, Starfire crossed with Cyborg. There's a Batgirl with Green Lantern, and very specifically Guy Gardner's Green Lantern. So it's Babs with the she's got the collar from they make a thing about that. Yeah, Matt's interested. But they on this one they're the Young Justice International at the minute. Miguel and Summer make a few jokes about it. Disco Troy, because Bat Gardner, Dr. Fatestorm, Starborg. There's a few all these little jokes, and it's a blast. And then they're getting told by Super Martian what they have to do, and you gotta, we've been waiting. The operator told us, that you'd show up at some point, and they're introduced to Lobo Kick You, which of course, if you remember, Summer earlier in the book when she used the dial, transformed into Lolo Kick You and was a Lobo knockoff. On this world, she is literally just the Lobo, complete with throwing out all the pastiches you could ask for. So they go and find Miguel on this world, and it is Miguel the Street. So on this world, Miguel is Danny the Street, and he has been entrusted with holding the Y dial, the yellow one, because it was it's this really safe place because he can just teleport around, and no one's going to find him if they don't want to. But only our Miguel can unlock the vault to get the vial because it's a code specified to like something that happened to him. And questions like why did you puke in front of the class in second grade? And the answer, which Pete will appreciate, was mayo. But I know Pete hates mayo. But so they get the Y dial, and then they have to debate, well, maybe we should use it and help this world, because that's a big thing at the start of this issue for Miguel is they're just jumping through all this multiverse to get to where the operator told them to go, and they're not stopping and helping anyone along the way. When they've got a dial, they could be turning into their heroes, Super Miguel and Lolo Kick You and helping and making a difference. Now he's got this dial, he wants to, but Summer's warning him, you can't do this because we got told if you dial that, the Thunderbolt, Mr. Thunderbolt will find you. And he shows up anyway. Mr. Thunderbolt's here, and Lobo Kick You reveals to them that Robbie Reed is also Mr. Thunderbolt as well as the operator, and it was he was split in two like like everything on this world. And it was all the evil side of him essentially and all the good side. And it does this cool thing where it has both of them side by side doing a speech, and you can like physically fold the page over so that the two images combine. Just cool little gimmicky stuff that this book's been kind of doing. But Miguel feels utterly betrayed by the fact that the operator never told him about this, and he's like, well, how can we trust anything he says now? And lying by omission is still lying. So he goes with Mr. Thunderbolt, and he takes the Y dial with him, and so we close the issue. Summer just she goes off back, and she's gonna go back with the operator and get back to him and figure out a new plan. But Miguel is with Thunderbolt, and he's like, right, okay, well we need to visit Apocalypse because that's where the last dial is. And he's like, well, we're gonna need an army. Miguel's like, what, an army? And he's like, you, Super Miguel, if you wish to be powerful, magnificent, you have to save all this. You're gonna have to dial. So he uses the yellow dial, and obviously we know already he was Super Miguel. He was a Superman knockoff, and the Y dial splits you. So we end the final page is a reveal of the army of it's Reign of the Super Miguels, and it's that cover with so you've got a Superboy, a Cyborg Superman, an Eradicator, a Steel. He's split into all of these, and it's all these Super Miguels going to take on Apocalypse is the next issue, and it's so delightful when it does this. It's this fantastic. Okay, all these things that you recognize that we're twisting that still work in the story because of the connection with Superman that this book has, and the art is just fantastic throughout. And this is possibly my favorite issue of the book yet, or it's up there with like one of the like 5-6 that great period where it's consistently very funny, all these meta jokes, but it's still got a lot of heart to it, and the character stuff between the two of them is great. And it is this tragedy that Miguel is kind of fallen to the dark side but not realized it yet, and we're getting all that 90s angst out in full. But yeah, no, this is a fantastic issue. It's a 9.
Well, okay, there you go. Very positive.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take us on to our final book of the week, which is Joker Harley Criminal Sanity issue 2. Cami Garcia writing with Mike Mayhew and Mico Suayan on art.
With Jason Badois, as we learned earlier.
Yes, true. But I imagine this is a transition of him leaving the book, this issue. So yeah, if you remember correctly, there's a serial killer on the loose doing some proper messed up, Seven-esque butchering.
So I got caught up on this week.
Oh, sure.
I went back and read the first one because I didn't have time last time. And it helps that it's shorter, right? It's like a typical length book.
It's a few more pages longer, but yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not super long.
It is 7, but with Harley. And I can't say that I don't like it. So I got to the end of that issue, and then with this one, and yeah, 7 indeed. Because when you see this new art installation of a body, and it looks like the Salvador Dali clocks, right?
Yeah.
And then they start looking, and the head wasn't removed because the spinal column's still intact.
Yeah, it was crushed.
And I read that, yeah, and it made me shiver. Just like
and all these candles melting the body fat.
Yeah. Also,
that's terrible.
The time, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think the time here. Well, I was going with the arms of the person. If it's the arms of the person, it's 2:45. But there's an argument to say that there's lines inside the clock that's saying that it's actually
12:30.
Let me look.
Well, it depends. It's actually kind of hard to tell which hand's supposed to be the other hand.
Is it 12:30 or is it 6:05?
It's hard to tell because the hands look just as long as each other, to be honest.
Yeah, it was at first glance that that one seemed longer, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, the time may not be ultimately that important beyond just a detail that they use later to solve something, but I thought I'd mention it. So yeah, she's at the crime scene, which is where we left the first issue off. Again, we have flashbacks to the origins, presumably, of the Joker. This asshole Mike's kid. He's this abusive father, this Mike, and we see this kid going through the turmoil. We also get a flashback of Harley at one point, which I did think was weird, was in colour in the other art, because later on in the book there seems to be some stuff that seems like it might be present day with Joker, and it's in colour, it's in the colour art, and it felt weird to me that if you're going to use the colour to sort of signify the Joker parts of the story, it felt weird to then have backstory with Harley. Because when I read the Harley flashback, I thought, okay, it's the flashback art style, as opposed to... But then later on, there was some Joker stuff, and I'm not entirely sure when that's set. And I'm like, if that's more or less present day...
Yeah, I think that's the point, though.
I assumed it wasn't present day because of that.
It's definitely sooner or nearer, right? It's definitely much further along the timeline.
Why?
Of the Joker?
Of the Joker? I mean, sure, but comparatively, but it could still be years ago.
Well, no, there's a thing on the TV, though, that implies it's the same time. There's the thing that's on the TV in the background with him is the same thing that Harley was watching on TV in the previous page.
I see.
Yeah, but I think also that they both have it on QVC, is I think the point. Because that's just what's on that late. But if you look at Joker's hair here compared to the black and white pictures, it's the black and white pictures are further along.
Okay, sure. The TV told me it was present day, but I mean...
No, I get that, but I read that this is a flashback, and that's...
Maybe it's a joke on how QVC never changes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Harley's looking at the case, she's talking to Crane, asking about Zaz, all these other things. We get more
that was a good scene about Zaz. He's Zaz can never be released.
He's too
that's
dangerous.
What I loved. Yeah.
We see. You know what? I kind of loved the dad. Like, obviously, when I say love, I mean in terms of just how it looks. But the dad punching like the kid with the mask on, and it leaves the break in the mask. I actually really like that panel.
Yeah. And then the kid just still goes out and does Halloween like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it looks like the person he goes to puts him in the hospital and says, "Hey, like, you know, like I have to, treat this."
I mean, pretty understandably.
Yeah, because they're a decent human being. So, and then from there, we get the autopsy stuff. Harley's at the morgue, asking questions. and the woman, the coroner's more interested in going for lunch at the Chinese place.
Oh, God, and then Harley. I don't eat Chinese because that's what happened in the last one with her roommate. But yeah, which this is such a trope on murder shows. I know because my wife watches a lot of them.
Yeah, the coroner's really peppy and upbeat and just
they're not just that, and it's just their job. So it's like me, going over stuff at work and being like, oh, what are we having for lunch? It just involves dissecting dead bodies.
I can't remember what movie this is from. Someone in the comments maybe like help me, but there's definitely a movie where a coroner like is eating a sandwich and he places it on the body like mid scene and picks it back up.
And this is such a trope at this point that part of me want to be irritated, but the other part was like, well, no, it's also Gotham. Gotham has a lot of effed up people.
I believe it. I believe that they get so it becomes so mundane and every day that sure, I'll talk about lunch.
So talking about the black and white art and the color art, like what's our take there on the fact that the next scene we get is a younger Joker, presumably, which is mostly in black and white, but there is color on his face, for the makeup and the hair.
Yeah, I was actually unsure as to which artist this was, because it's in the sense of out of the three. Obviously, I didn't think it was the standard flashback artist. It's too clean. But I was wondering, is this the one that that we're transitioning to?
Maybe.
Is it like the idea that a bit closer to the other style, but still with the color elements? As well?
If so, it's fantastic. Like this scene is just moody. And I can hear the music, even though there is none of that. The single shot of him. What I loved because what I think I really like about the art here, and I've liked because the art is there's some criticisms to have if you think it's too sort of traced looking in some of the colored stuff, especially, but
photorealistic to a uncanny valley point.
But one of the things that I do love is the texture of material, and I actually love the close up of when his hand with the leather glove is going to pick up the knife. Like I think there's just so much mood in just those two little panels of him going for that knife.
It's the way that the light comes off it, and the way it kind of shines on the leather glove.
It just looks really good. So I really like that. And we have Harley and her brother. Her brother shows up and wants her to come and visit her dying mother, and she's like, nope. Which leads to the flashback of her mother being this controlling, crazy person, essentially.
Yeah, wouldn't let her wear all the makeup.
Yeah. It's funny because as much as still it's too lifelike at some points, that panel of Harley looking over her shoulder in the flashback, saying, I'll take it off, that does look really good.
I think up until I see the ear. Sure. When I get to the ear, it bugs me.
Yeah. Okay, all right, I can see it.
No, I get it. But it also reminded me of stuff from like Hill House too, because there's that moody horror aspect to it as well.
I'm so up and down on this art because there are panels that I think are fantastic, like which when she's actually doing the scrubbing and above it, I think minus the ear, and that's great. But then you've got at the start of that page her looking in the mirror. And obviously, it's super photorealistic of her in the mirror, and then you've just got this cartoony silhouette in the doorway, and it looks so weird.
Yeah, and then there's some more flashbacks of what's the kid's name? I keep forgetting the kid's name. Joe?
It's John.
Is it John? Okay, John Kelly.
Yeah. John Kelly. Yeah.
So
let me double check. Though.
He's at high school, and basically this jock guy sort of like says you see me walking here as he bumps into his shoulder sort of intentionally, and I actually love that last panel. It's actually a little bit cliche, but he just has this evil scowl of like I'm going to get him back. I'm kind of into it. So he actually goes to the library, guesses his password to get into his photo accounts, and finds some stuff of him and a guy who are dressed up in bras and kissing each other, and sends it to all of everybody in school, basically. And then he bumps into him as he's like going on the steps and says, "What? Can't you see me walking here?" So it shows you how petty he is, and how vindictive he'll be.
Let me just tell you the flaw in this. I work at a school. That internet is so blocked off, you can't get to social media.
Oh sure, yeah. And this is why. This is exactly why.
Exactly. So just that, not that it's a big thing. It doesn't impact the story in any way. But I can't even like.
To be fair, Matt.
I think it was doing. It looked to me like he was doing it on like a Find My Phone sort of thing, because he logged into his phone account because he sends it to all his contacts rather than any actual.
To be fair though, Matt, just to make a point here, is that this is a flashback to when he's a teenager, so this would be in the earlier days of internet in schools as opposed to now.
My school always had it, to be fair.
I mean,
so
mine had some blocks, but I don't think it blocked
no.
social media because social media didn't really exist yet.
No,
Mine had
but,
mine had MySpace blocked. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Mine.
I don't remember.
Well, ours had certain things blocked. Like weirdly, ESPN was blocked.
I remember YouTube wasn't blocked because I remember watching a lot of YouTube in my last year of high school. So YouTube was definitely not blocked at the time.
Yeah, no, YouTube wasn't blocked because the teachers used it.
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. No. So, anyways, I saw that, and even if this is just like a photo share site, something that probably would have been blocked at a school. That's just all.
I'm willing to forgive on just for convenience for the story, and also I'll buy that Gotham High is shitty enough not to have the blocks in place.
Like I said, for me, this played like logging into your Google account, right? So, which wouldn't be blocked because that's your emails.
Yeah.
And in the same way that all your pictures are just backed up onto your account. If you got an Android phone, you can back up all your pictures into your account, and the fact that it's sent to his contacts, not just it wasn't a school address list, it was the phone contacts. So that's why I assume it was like a Google account that he was logged into. Yeah. So
we actually continue the flashbacks there. Same age. He's at home. He's shaving. And his dad demands to get in the bathroom, and then basically mocks him for using like a proper traditional razor. He's like, no, you should use a straight edge, like an old school man kind of thing. And because he barely talks back to him, he has his friends hold him down and holds the blade to his neck. And then we see him stumble into the hospital. It's almost shocking that this kid's not been taken from him and put in child services, customer services. Put this kid in customer services.
Especially after like earlier on, we saw the bit of the dad break his arm and then he's in the hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just, I guess, showing how bad the system is in Gotham.
Exactly.
They just can't, take the kid away from his dad, even though his dad's clearly not healthy for him.
So, I just looked up that the tattoo on that dude's head is a straight up prison tattoo.
Of course it is.
Okay.
I'm not surprised.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it looks like the same diamond in the TV. Because we're at those pages now where Harley's got the TV on, and then we go to the Joker, prepping something, and it looks like the same diamond that's on the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is a shorter hair Joker. Although I do like the makeup is very Heath Ledger. It's very much the darker eyes, the bigger smile.
Yeah. So when you see him here, I feel this is the vibe that Ayer wanted out of Jared Leto's Joker.
Oh sure.
Not meth dealer with a million juggalo tattoos.
Here's the thing, Matt. I never thought of Jared Leto's Joker during this because this didn't make me want to vomit. So
no, looking back on it now, though, I'm like, this is probably what he was going for, But because I get where you get Heath Ledger and stuff from, but I also see the modern.
I don't feel that Heath. In terms of outside of the visual, I don't feel it's that Heath Ledger.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying just purely the makeup is very Heath Ledger.
Yeah. I get where you're coming from on that too, but yeah, no. I get this is the kind of dangerous vibe. Like,
it's a lot more personal, petty psychopath versus.
Oh yeah, because this is definitely. I mean, hell, we're talking about this being Seven. This is definitely serial killer Joker as opposed to I want to show the city that chaos reigns Joker. It's very different, but that's the whole concept of this book is that Harley's a criminal psychologist and Joker's a serial killer. That's the premise of this.
Yeah, it's so different.
If the DC streaming service wants to do something cool, adapt this. Into like a Mindhunter-esque.
As far as TV shows goes, that thing's as good as dead, as far as I'm concerned at this point.
Yeah, but let's take chances this way.
HBO Max, if you want to do this,
fine.
Yeah,
that's why I said the DC streaming service. Whatever one it's going to be.
If it's got Joker's name to it attached to it, it's going to be HBO Max because they want that dollar.
Yeah,
let's do that. Let's do this. This has some weight to it.
This would make a fun miniseries, actually. It would.
Yeah.
It genuinely would.
Just on that note, what's his name who directed Joker, claiming that the Batman connection had nothing to do with it, making a billion. Yes, it did, mate.
I mean, for the record, I watched Joker this week, so I've now seen it, and
I feel like you had the exact same opinion as me and Matt did.
Pretty much. I will say anything involving the name Wayne, I freaking hated with every fibre of my being. I don't even care that what they tease isn't real, and obviously it turns out not to be the case in the movie. Even the fact that they were that connected in the first place pisses me off. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's the idea that you can take that exact movie, change the makeup so it's not just a Joker, right?
Yeah.
And change it so it's not Gotham and it's not the Waynes, and do literally nothing else to it. It maybe makes
it fades away.
million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It fades away. We don't talk about it.
It's only because it's Joker. That is the only reason why it made money.
And
exactly.
it's a fine movie.
So I'm going to... So spoilers. Joe, it's been out enough now. It's been out long enough. I'm going to say spoiler warning here so I can say something, right? So one of the things I hate about Tim Burton's Batman is that it gives us the Joker killed the Wayne parents, right? I hate that change, right? This movie somehow makes it worse by... Okay, Joker's not the one who pulls the trigger, but Joker inspires a political movement that leads to their death.
Did you see? I don't know if you saw. Kevin Smith was talking about how he's aware of what the real ending was originally supposed to be.
Yeah.
Where at the very end, so the clown shoots the Waynes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He also shoots the kid.
You know what? If that had the way that it went, and like this is now a world that Gotham was so
Batman.
Exactly, because it is so far gone. It makes me like it maybe a half point more. It still is not like it's still super shallow, but at least it's more bold.
It's definitely
right?
shallow. It's not as deep as it thinks it is.
That's the biggest problem. It's fine. It's enjoyable enough. It's just not got any substance to back up what it thinks.
Honestly, like, I mean, if it did have the substance, I wouldn't complain in this way. But I think because it is shallow, it actually kind of bugs me that he doesn't become more Joker-esque by the end. Like, obviously this was always like going to be this new take on Joker, but I genuinely thought as I was watching it though, maybe by the end he will feel more like the Joker. There'll be something that feels a bit more.
Like, yeah. I mean,
instead, Todd Phillips turned him into a Christ figure.
But but it never did. Like even when it got to the ramped up to the ending, and he's like got the crowds around him, and he's inspired this movement. I never really felt like he became the Joker, if that makes sense. And not that I expected it to be exactly like the comic book or exactly like any other movie version. Just I expected it to veer like more towards the idea of now he does kind of stand for something, or he's an agent of chaos or whatever, like, or stand for nothing, maybe more accurate. But you know what I mean, like.
Yeah,
it just kind of felt like.
I don't think I hate that it doesn't, because I don't have enough passion about that movie to hate anything.
Sure.
Or love anything. It's just it's fine.
My big thing is that obviously I just don't think it should be an origin story. I think that's fundamentally from the start is its problem. Like. I have said in the past that you can do a Joker standalone movie and treat it like a horror movie, have Joker be the villain, have him be this dangerous enemy, and just don't have a Batman to save anyone. It's civilians dealing with a Joker, and that could be kind of interesting. And there's moments in the movie that are kind of veering into that, but it doesn't ever really go full-fledged.
I don't hate. Just don't claim that its connection to Batman had nothing to do with its success. Of course it bloody did.
I also love that Scorsese going, yeah, I saw it. Or I didn't see it. I heard about it. I've made that movie. That was basically his vibe. Is like, this is just Taxi Driver. I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah, and for the record, this is nothing on Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver is infinitely better. Yeah. Like,
because it has substance.
Yes.
I feel sympathy for Travis Bickle. You look at him, you're like, this poor guy, right? Like, he can't get anything straight. When it comes to Joaquin Phoenix character, Arthur, he's too
unhinged from the start. There's nothing to get sympathetic with.
I don't even feel, I feel pity for him, and it's not sympathy. It's not like, it's just like, dude, come on.
Yeah, it's just all of it. It's just like you say, Phillips watched Taxi Driver and went, I can do that, and he really can't.
No, you can't.
There's a moment early on where he's at his boss's office, and his boss is just like complaining that he has to give a sign back or pay for a sign that was broken, right? But it does this thing where it slowly tracks into his face with dramatic music, and I thought, we're not at that point yet, movie. Slow down. Like, we're not there yet. You've not made me care about this enough yet to do this shot.
What drives me nuts more about this is not the movie itself, because like Connor said, it's fine. It's the fact that I know people that think it's so deep, and it's like, no, it's not. Just because you're projecting yourself there because you want to project like, oh yeah, the world turns people crazy. No, and even that's not even what the point of the movie is. He's already at that point.
All the names. None of us are angry about anything in that movie. Not really.
No.
We wouldn't think it's a good movie necessarily.
No.
But like, people saying he's really angry when all the Wayne stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just change the names and everything.
Yeah, I mean, angry from an
what Pete said on Twitter.
Yeah,
he said that was Thomas Bane. The movie doesn't work the same.
Yeah, well, I hate the this is more of a prequel problem than an adaptation problem. Actually, it's that we have to connect it to things that it shouldn't be connected to, and that bugs me immensely. I don't like the idea of like like the killer of the Wayne shouldn't have a motive, but that's a larger adaptation.
Me and Matt saw this last week where I wanted to know that Joe Chill exists.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I prefer not known as well. I don't necessarily mind Joe Chill existing; he's such a staple at this point. But at the same time, it should be a faceless nobody,
But and you can, and that's fine. That's where you can tweak Batman's origin, right? It's not. Do they work with the Falcones? Do they not? Like it's fine.
Giving Joker this much of an origin just like kind of bugs me. I love the idea of it being multiple choice. Like that's one of the things I do love. Like I almost wish that you could do like 2 or 3 more Killing jokes, and everyone has a different origin, and that's kind of the point, right?
I would respect it a lot more if they made another Joker, and just do. This is another origin story, right? and just make like 5 of them.
Yeah, that was always the thing with when they had a bunch of them in development. Like Leo was tied to one, and and then you had this one, and then there was another one. I was like, cool.
Also,
give us multiple.
This is the Smallville problem again to an extent, but like. By the time this Bruce Wayne in this movie becomes Batman, Joaquin Phoenix is going to be like 65, 70. Like he's so
terrifying.
I don't mind Joker being older than Batman, like whatever, but like this is such a age difference that by the time Batman's fully functional, like this Joker's going to be decrepit.
Well, and that's why I've seen defenders say, well, this is the guy that like our Joker, for lack of a better term, is in that crowd of people. And something that happens.
Someone who gets inspired by the crowd rather than actually being Phoenix himself.
Right. Also, can we laugh that his initials, his name is A. Fleck? It's like Affleck.
Okay, that's amusing.
Anyways,
I don't even think I like that because I don't like the idea that Joker's inspired by someone. Like Joker shouldn't be inspired.
Funny, to be honest.
No, I know. I bet if you could make that argument, if you want to make this a world where. I still think if you make it more bold and you have him kill the Thomas Wayne character, or not Thomas Wayne, Bruce Wayne, then sure,
I think
Batman.
My hope after the first trailer is this was going to be like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer with Joker, and unfortunately it just doesn't have the bite to actually really pull that off.
No, that's the thing. It wants to be Taxi Driver, and it could have just been Taxi Driver, and I'd have enjoyed that if it was able to understand why Taxi Driver is good.
Yeah,
like I say, it's a film student's take on Taxi Driver.
That's kind of what it is.
Yeah, and like the original point that brought this all up, Todd Phillips, it's Batman has everything to do with it.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
It might have been successful enough to, because it would have had a very low budget. It probably would have been you'd have made your budget, it'd be fine. It'd be successful enough.
But it would have gotten a theatrical run. This would have been something that was sold to Netflix or Amazon. You know what I mean?
It might have got a small theatrical run, possibly.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But,
mid-tier, like that, but still. Give me the Pete idea of a Joker horror movie where you don't even see him that much. He's a force. He's an ethereal.
Honestly, it was Split that inspired that idea for me. It was like, okay, this is how you do a villain movie in a comic book world. You just do it with the villain on their own, and the humans have to deal with it on their own, and he's terrifying because of that. Like, that's what you do.
So, but anyways. Criminal Sanity.
Nice. Where are we?
Perfect HBO.
Yes.
A perfect HBO miniseries with how they're handling this.
Yeah. To where are we? Where
right at the end.
They arrested this homeless guy from the park who killed someone in the park, and Harley's like, this is not our killer. I mean, he killed someone, but this is not our serial killer.
He's covered in blood. He did something, but this isn't the one we're looking for.
Yeah. So the final scene, which is in full color with the Joker. Youngish looking but still Joker-fied, is him stalking a woman in the park and says, I'm sorry that what does he say, sorry to keep you waiting. Yeah, had to be sure. So this implies either it's crazy speak or this target is someone specific that maybe he knew when he was younger. But we end with her tied in a chair, mouth is taped, and he's got a blade in his hand, and he says, I could tell you this isn't going to hurt, but that would be a lie. I will say my one complaint, or my biggest complaint of the first issue, was the cliffhanger felt really weird. Like it wasn't a cliffhanger. Like I thought I had a missing page or something at the end.
Yeah.
This is more of a. This feels like a cliffhanger. So fair enough. So yes, that was a solid issue. If anything, I maybe liked it more than the first one.
It's really good. It benefits from being so different that you're not questioning what it's doing and why it exists.
Sure,
it's just it's so different. It's this completely different take. You go, sure, why not?
Well, this is the thing. If let's say the Joker movie said, no, it's like I'm doing an Elseworld where my take is it's the Joker, but this, like, but it's not different enough in that sense to actually make it something else. It's just, you know.
This is almost David Fincher's Joker Harley.
It kind of is.
So, and I love David Fincher, so sure.
To me, this is like akin to Gotham by Gaslight, which is Batman but in the Victorian England setting, right? This is Joker and Harley, but in a David Fincher movie.
Yeah, I'd watch the hell out of that movie.
Yeah, because and you know, not to beat the David Fincher horse, but it's not just Seven. But I'm getting kind of like Zodiac vibes. Oh yeah,
of
the mundane, you know,
mundanity. Little bit. You could even go as far as going into Mindhunter with the Harley side of things.
Yeah, the first issue had that whole 2 pages where she was talking about different serial killers. That was very Mindhunter, the way it was bringing all that stuff up.
Which I did feel kind of slowed the book down, which started to feel like a textbook. This didn't have any of that, as far as it goes.
Yeah. They could have spread that out.
You also have to set the tone.
What they could have done with that is they could have devoted like 1 page per issue to a different serial killer. Almost like a case file in each issue. They could have done something like that.
Also, I've listened to a lot of true crime stuff on my own, and then dealing with my wife's love of all of that. I was familiar with each of those serial killers, and it makes me sad. Like, they got to Ed Gein which I also shouldn't have read these before bed this week, because then it gave me messed up dreams.
That was a bad idea.
Right, which I don't know how like Pete and Tim watch so many horror movies and then go to sleep. My brain doesn't work like that. But anyways, they got to Ed Gein and the nipple belt, and I was like, I forgot about that. Thanks, Criminal Sanity, for reminding me. But no, this issue definitely was an improvement of that. But I love the vibe of it. It has that grittiness to it, like. Not gritty in that like true, like this is how life really is, but it's closer than some of the other comic books, right?
Yeah, you know, I really like the black and white art, and then the colored art is good in places. Obviously, sometimes feels a bit off, but like it definitely has a style, and I'm definitely into it overall. Is what it's creating in terms of its feel. So yeah, Black Label. Doing quite well. It's just doing just fine. Matt, what are you rating Criminal Sanity issue 2?
I'm gonna give this an 8. Not, it's very, very good.
Sure, Connor.
Slightly higher. I'm gonna go with an 8.5.
I haven't agreed with Connor too much this week, but I'm also going to go with an 8.5. Yeah. It's not quite at that amazing level of the 9, but I do think it's hefty into the great territory. And I'm happy to give it that. So there you go. So that brings us to the part of the show where we pick our favourite stuff of the week. We do our favourite panel / moment, favourite cover, favourite art, and top 5. And I only read 5 books, so I guess everything's making it, which is a shame because 2 of them, well, at least one of them definitely sucked.
Did deserve it.
Yeah. But I don't do Connor's bullshit thing where he tries to weasel out of it. I will rank them in order and let it speak for the week.
It's not top 5 anymore at that point. It's a top couple, and then I guess these were there too.
No, I will let it speak to the quality of the week as a whole. As to what the quality.
More to it is them not being there. There wasn't even that many good books.
Shut up. So, start off with panel / moment. Matt, what are you going with?
So I was looking back over Lois, and I don't know if there's a really great moment. So I'm gonna pull it from Justice League Dark, and it's on Constantine. It's like, oh, no, it's real trouble, and you got the dragon and the smoke thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty good moment.
That was good.
All right, Connor.
I'm gonna go with the Reign of the Super Miguels, because it is a complete classic cover, complete with the box from the end of Dial H Hero. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I will go from Lois Lane. I'm just going to take the ending. I'm going to take the skull face peel reveal.
It's pretty good.
Super fun and unexpected, so I'm into that. Best cover of the week, Matt. What you got?
So mine, I was looking through. I have it narrowed down. It's either the Lois cover or the Batgirl variant cover. I like this Lois cover. Just you got the bloody Superman S, and there's the checkmate stuff
on
nice. There, which is pretty cool. But Batgirl,
Dodson's
variant.
Yeah.
Got the
that one looks
Dodson's
good too.
cover.
So I'll give it to the Batgirl variant.
You got that. Obviously, Joker Harley has Criminal Sanity has
two great covers.
I think they both work really well. So I think for me, I'm going to have to pick one of those. I think I like the design of the variant more because it's just a kid standing in front of the mirror with a broken mask. But I do have to admit that the main cover has a kind of cinematic quality to it that I also really like. But I'll go with the variant. I'll go with the kid standing in front of the mirror with the broken mask. I like that. Connor, what you got?
I've actually got it narrowed down to two as well, and it's two that no one said yet. It's the Justice League Dark variant and the Lois Lane variant. That's the one where she's pulling the jacket open to reveal the press pass. I thought that was kind of nice.
I see that I would have been self-parody if I had picked that one. That's why I left it off.
Yeah,
that's Yasmin Putri did that Lois cover for the record.
Yeah, it's really nice. And the Justice League Dark cover is Wonder Woman front and center. It's just a great design and a lot of white space, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to edge it to the Lois variant, but yeah, not a bad week for covers.
No, the Lois one's good. So that'll take us on to Art of the Week. I'll start with Connor on this one.
Yeah, Dilate Hero.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry, it's just phenomenal.
Didn't hesitate, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, kind of a weird week for art actually, because I wasn't obviously into a couple of them. It's kind of between Batgirl, Lois, and Criminal Sanity, and I think Criminal Sanity does have those weird moments. I think overall it's definitely the fanciest art in terms of like just being like a hey, look at this, it's all this mood and style. So I'm probably going to go with that. But I did like the art in Lois Lane a lot. So I'll mention that too. Matt, what you got?
Lois Lane, Mike Perkins. It's
Okay.
the best the books look. So.
Okay, great. Matt, top 5 of the week. Go.
Not 5. Number 1, Lois Lane. Number 2, Justice League Dark. Number 3, Criminal Sanity. 4, Batgirl. 5, Action Comics.
Cool. Connor.
Dial H, Justice League Dark, Criminal Sanity, Lois, and then Batgirl. Yes, it's the only other one left because it's obviously not Flash.
Yeah, clearly. My number 1 is Criminal Sanity. My number 2 is Lois Lane. My number 3 is Batgirl. My number 4 is Action Comics, and my number 5 is Flash.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously had a couple of books that I really liked, but otherwise a pretty rough week.
Not the best start to the year.
Not the best start to the year, but we have a lot coming next week, which I'm about to tell you about.
Yeah, we do.
Well, it's not like an insane amount, but there's some stuff.
It's more like
it's more than this week, but it's not insane levels.
There's some excitement too.
All right, so coming next week we have Batman 86, the start of Tynion's run, so that should be pretty cool and exciting. We'll see how he starts off. We
talk about some of his tweets in a minute.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll do that after we've done this list. Batman the Outsiders number 9 is out. We got Catwoman 19 coming out. We got Daphne Byrne issue 1, so we've got a new Hill House book starting, so that's exciting. We have Dollhouse Family issue 3. We have Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy issue 5. We have Hawkman number 20. We have Supergirl 38. And we have Young Justice number 12. So the way that the schedule worked out with the no week at the end of December, the extra week this month, is definitely shaking up what the set of books is in each week, because this feels like a weird mix of week 1 and 2 with a bit of week 3. Yeah. It's kind of weird, but so there you go. That's what's coming next week. Yeah, so okay, these Tynion tweets that he's been teasing Batman.
Yeah, so he basically was like, hey, it's coming out this week. Free for all on questions. I'll answer as much as I can.
Sure.
And so one of the first ones was he's discussed a lot of the villains that are going to be in there. But who else will Bruce be talking to? And his answer was Commissioner Harvey Bullock.
Yeah, can't help but notice that.
Yeah, which I think is interesting.
Look, I understand that Gordon's gone a little cuckoo, but I know Bullock's got the time, but he's not the commissioner type.
I think it'd be really interesting to see him have to be.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see.
Right? Well, that's why it makes it interesting.
Yeah, we might see him grow. We might see him have to kind of grow up a little bit, essentially, because he's commissioner now.
Yeah.
I can always see, like, you know how like, at the end of like some of those early Batman arcs we had, like, I am Gotham, I am Batman, I am Bane. I can always see Bullock at the end of this arc being, I am Commish.
I don't know. I was getting more. Don't call me Commish.
Gordon's going to call him Commish like at some point, isn't he? He's going to refer to him as Commish. Assuming it's not because he's dead, but I don't think he will be. We just lost Alfred. We can't lose Gordon as well.
Yeah.
We just did that in Curse of the White Knight as well, so not in the main continuity. What else? What else he said?
So someone asked how the other Bat family members going to be involved, and he said, after a big 50-issue run on Detective that was Bat family focused, they're not actually playing a big part in his central story. He did say though that Pennyworth R.I.P. sets up a larger Gotham dynamic, which will lead us into the summer.
So that's the one shot.
That's the one shot.
Pennyworth R.I.P.
Yeah, might actually be kind of important.
Okay.
No plans for any Al Ghouls at the minute.
We've had a lot of them recently, so.
Yeah. He's asked about original characters and said, 86 introduces 2 new assassins and a new mayor of Gotham.
Okay.
Yeah. What else have we got? He wants to show off the new Batmobile design, but he's not allowed. Having fun with Hell Arisen in terms of the Batman Who Laughs, but doesn't seem like he's going to be in there.
Good.
And the destruction of the Wayne Tower in the Batman Who Laughs miniseries is the reason there's a new Wayne Enterprises HQ.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Makes sense. All right. So
someone's asked about Nightwing as well.
Oh, okay.
Someone's asking, how will it intertwine with the Nightwing series? It just says, this run sets up things that play out in Nightwing and other Gotham books and vice versa. So, Team Gotham working together to bring you a cohesive line leading into a big story in this summer.
Okay, hopefully that means Dick's getting fixed soon.
Yep.
You would hope so.
Fix Dick.
Yeah, there's nothing more upsetting when your dick isn't right. When there's something wrong with the dick.
Yeah.
Very concerning.
I try to make a right angle joke, but I can't make it fit.
Oh, God.
Oh, dear.
We're getting a Deathstroke in the first issue. And someone's asking why Deathstroke when he's traditionally a Titans villain to start.
Why not?
And he's basically gone, I really like Tony Daniel drawing Slade, and he's doing the first issue. So,
okay.
and his solo series just ended, so I could, basically.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's hard to argue with.
Yeah. One that Pete will be really happy about. Someone said, how many paragraphs per page should I expect? And he said, I'm trying to be good, I swear.
Okay.
So maybe be cutting down. He's going to be fighting Cheshire one-on-one.
All right. Well, I think that'll do. He'd have to do every tweet he did. I think.
No, I'm not. There are tons I've not read there.
He's been doing this a lot. He's been opening up his Twitter to discussions a lot more lately, which I like. Seeing that.
Just one more, because I know Matt was talking about the Clayface thing earlier. That
Yep.
was told to wait for. I'm assuming this is the one that he was referring to. Someone asked him, no one does enough with Killer Croc, and he has a rough idea that would bring Man-Bat, Clayface, and Croc together, but he just needs to finish, nailing the story first before it comes. But he's got ideas.
As someone that loves Croc and Man-Bat, because they're monsters, I like to hear this.
That sounds like some sort of villain, like Monsters of Gotham team up. Maybe it's like a monstrous version of the Rogues. They're going to be.
So we've seen what he's done with Clayface in Tech. We've seen what he's done with Man-Bat in Justice League Dark.
Is this going to be an anti-hero team? Like, is this going to be like?
Is this like Croc's redemption?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, like that's what I liked seeing too in Harleen was her talking with him. And she's like, look, I know you got a condition, but we're going to get past it. So I can see that with Waylon.
Okay. Yeah. All right, well, starting next week, so we'll see how that shapes up. All right, well, there you go. That is more or less issue 188 of Comics from the Multiverse. So just to remind you of a couple of details. In fact, first of all, I'll thank our Patreon producers for the month. I keep meaning to do that in the middle somewhere in between two books, and I keep forgetting. But thank you to our producers who are David Short, Alison M. Fordyce, Cindy Palacios, and Tyler Hess. Those are our Patreon producers, which means they are at least the $20 tier and up on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, and you can do the same. But you don't have to support us for that much, of course. You can support us for as little as $1 per month and get some bonuses for your trouble. So go and have a look and keep the show coming. So you can go do that. Obviously, like, subscribe, ding the bell on YouTube, share the podcast out on social media, rate the podcast on Apple Podcasts. All these things help and get more people to join the show. But yes, so I'll just remind you of what we announced earlier. We're going to be having Previously in the Multiverse every 2 weeks, which is us working through some classic DC runs, one of which will be voted for by patrons. The 6th book will be voted for by patrons, so that'll be going up soonish over at patreon.com for our $5 and up patrons. So go and have a look for that if you're on there already or thinking about becoming one. So that's every other week. Every other week, alternating with that is Elsewhere in the Multiverse, a casual chat between me and Connor talking about Marvel books and whatever else we want to talk about comic book wise. It's not DC. So that stuff's coming. Look forward to that. Is there anything else I want to promote? I mentioned the top 50 movie stuff earlier. You can check out that if you want to. But that is pretty much us. I'll just say get us on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast. Good to follow that for updates and stuff. But otherwise that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, guys, and remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.